Hi, Kim.
How are you going? How you doing?
I'm almost taxed out, but I'm proud of Jen for marathoning through today. It's been a crazy afternoon, and she's just been a trooper, getting through a very difficult afternoon. And putting up with some very difficult people. So I think congratulations are in order there.
She was pretty based. I was like, yes, Jen, nailed it.
Hey guys, Dusty's on a call real quick, so just take over and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to stay on here for very long because I've got to go to a website meeting. You know, that website thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll hang for a little while, for sure. I can help out.
Thanks, guys. Thomas or Josh, I don't even know how to say that. If one of you guys want to jump in as well.
It's Josie. Hey, Jen. Thanks.
Yeah, hey, this is Tom. Thank you, Jen, for hosting this. I jumped into that last space late, and so I'm glad you did this after space. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks again, Jen. Good to see you guys. So I just wanted to touch off real quick with something that's carrying over from the previous space, if I could.
Go for it.
Okay. So there were ties to different actors, if you will, being a Marine veteran and what have you. I can't really say exactly, the things that I've done. I certainly wouldn't do it on a public platform. But let's start off with a few things. What are the ties to the actors who have the most benefits to gain? We know that, and going back in history to Kissinger, to Obama, and to the present day, there are different factions in the Middle East that have been supported by the United States, the CIA, alphabet agencies that people are not even paying attention to. But these people are intentionally creating conflicts to embed themselves in a political and economic hegemony. And BlackRock is at the forefront of everything, just like it is in the Ukraine. So when I heard you all speaking about, who has the most to gain, I was really glad to hear that. It's also kind of strange that someone said, well, if they want to lay the blame on certain actors, they would do this. But see, with my experience, that's not usually the case. Things are going to get scrubbed, and we'll probably never know until years go by for exactly who's responsible for today's attempted assassination. So I just wanted to finish with the fact that Hamas in the present day is being funded just like the UNRWA. They're coming in through the Mexico border. They're infiltrating native nations as we speak. I'm a member of the Chiricahua, Apache, and Comanche nations, and there are mosques being set up on some of the nations across the country. So this has been an ongoing destruction, infiltration of our institutions for years, and we're seeing the fruits of it. Obama himself, who helped fund the Muslim Brotherhood and ISIS, it's just a mess. And so I'm just glad that everyone's able to kind of see certain things that are not put out in the media. So I'll just leave it with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Hey Jen, thank you. Sorry. I was in the last space and I had my hand up for like 2 hours, but then it's my fault. I was walking my dog and the Wi-Fi went out and I was really frustrated because I'm so glad that you talked about that time cover. I posted it in the nest. You can delete it if you want. I posted it last time, but I posted it with my tweet circling the time and the date. So it could have looked like self-promotion. That could have also got me dropped. So I apologize for that. But I just want us to take a second. These deep state folks always have to like brag beforehand. It seems like they always want to tell us, like whether it's The Simpsons or cartoons or news, the globalists like want to put it in front of our face almost to brag. So literally the day after September 11th, if you guys were in less space, Time Magazine posted a picture of Donald Trump going into a sandbag on a golf course on a golf cart, and it said "Time's up." And it's like 2 days before the shooting. And I was like, no way, this is real. I went to Time Magazine's little tweet. There's also the Wayback Machine. It's there. I posted it in the Jumbotron. Not trying to self-promote. I didn't post my tweet. I posted Times. But it's just like, this is something that if you do notice in the last space, they also touched upon most of the violence committed against politicians. For example, Abraham Lincoln, Abe in Japan, Trump twice, is against Republicans, right? And so I think that's election interference, right? And so JFK Jr., I don't know if you guys all know, but he's under federal investigation for putting a dead whale's head supposedly on his car in 2012. This never came up when he was running as an independent or as a Democrat, but now all of a sudden that he supported Trump, he is getting investigated for touching a dead whale's head. And then Tulsi gets put on the no-fly list for some apparent reason. Like they think she's a terrorist because she supported Trump. So someone made a great point earlier. I'm 33. So the first person ever I voted for, I'm not going to lie, was DeSantis when I voted for my governor of Florida, right? And then I saw this, like his campaign was an absolutely disaster for presidency. But between that point when I voted for DeSantis at the age of, I believe, 24 to now at age 33, the left has gone so far left. They're Marxists. They act like communists. They are not normal. We have rappers, people coming out of the woodwork, Amber Rose. Even though I don't support her lifestyle, I support her, support for Donald Trump. So it's just, it's come full circle. And that's all I wanted to say. So thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, G. Thanks, Kim.
Okay, I don't know who's next. I just grabbed co-host. Sorry, thanks, Stephanie. I was trying to get to my mute button, but next is Chris, and then we'll go to Sleepy. Sorry, Miss G.
Yeah, I missed a lot of the last space. I was in and out. I feel bad for our country because there's a lot of people who are sitting in groups with blue signs in their yards that are opining that this didn't happen today. And I think that
Hey Jen, your mic's on.
I think that they believe that that's normal, and I don't see how you get there as an American. You know, I mean, as bad as we disliked Obama for 8 years and Jimmy Carter for 4 years, and you know, and as bad as this country did not like LBJ, you know, because of the Vietnam War, there was nobody calling for an assassination of LBJ or Jimmy Carter or Barack Obama or even Joe Biden. Not to, you know, sadly enough, he probably wouldn't even know it, but it's unbelievable that people would even consider that concept about a president of the United States, no matter how much you disagree, because regardless of who is sitting in the Oval Room, that's the office. That is the chief executive that is embellished in Article 2 of our Constitution. And when somebody else is elected, they're going to take the executive role over. And it happens every 4 years. And we have seen assassinations of presidents before. And every time it's happened, it has been a national tragedy and a disaster. And it speaks to the kind of evil that boiled up inside of our country. You look at the assassination of Lincoln and the assassination of Kennedy. Now, Lincoln, you know, we pretty much knew what was going on then because we were involved in a war. So it didn't take a whole lot to figure that out, and those people paid for it. But we're way many years past the assassination of JFK, and pretty much everybody who was alive then that had anything to do with anything is long gone. And they are still holding on to whatever shred of indignity that they need to hide behind on that assassination. What possible fear can they have? Because whatever institution that is in fear of the American people, it can't exist. Once we find out, and it won't matter, because at some point they're going to be dead too. They can't outlive their conspiracy.
Go
ahead,
Chris. I just wanted to break in with some breaking news. I have it up on the Jumbotron. President Trump has just truthed out He literally, his whole truth is 0 to 2, like 0 and 2.
Hey, this is Tom. Okay, so if you look at my profile on Twitter, if you go to my website, thomasspeciale.com, I'm a career intelligence officer. I ran for U.S. Senate in 2019, 2020. I was in the primary here in Virginia. It's the only reason I can speak publicly is because I made sure what my right and my left limits were. I'm a contractor. I'm not a government employee, so that is what allows me ultimately to speak because I'm not under Hatch Act. But I'm very, very deeply connected to the intelligence community. And long before even the first attempted assassination of Donald Trump, many of us in the intel community were very concerned that somebody would sooner or later take a shot at Donald Trump, because there are a great many people in the world that are fearful of the outcome, the consequences of Donald Trump being the president again. And, you know, one of the things that I said when I was on the campaign trail was that Donald Trump killed Osama bin Laden. He killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and he killed a guy named Abu Muhandis, who was the leader of the Shia militias in Iraq and was a pawn of Iran. Him killing
Tom?
Qasem Soleimani. Yes.
Can I just ask
yes.
you a question real quick? Did you?
Sure.
I don't know if Trump killed Osama bin Laden. Wasn't that? Are you just being facetious, or?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean Osama bin Laden. I meant the other guy.
Soleimani.
Yeah, Soleimani, Abu Muhandis, and Al Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was the leader of ISIS. I'm sorry, not Al Qaeda. ISIS. He basically killed the leader of ISIS. He killed the leader.
I disagree that you use his name as the person of the. It is not the mechanism. He is not the reason. It's the result.
But he approved. But he approved it.
And the result of our military
he approved it.
Capability.
Listen, but he approved it, and they hold him responsible.
I don't think that's the case either. I mean,
it
I
is.
think that
It is.
You have people that are upper echelons that ask for the orders to be granted.
Listen to what I'm saying. I know for a fact President Trump approved the killings of all 3 of those terrorist leaders in the Middle East. I know that for a fact. Okay, so, and you can check it, you can believe whatever you want, but here's what I'm trying to get at. There are a great many number of people in the world that want to kill Donald Trump. We don't need, although I'm sure there are some, but we don't need a grand conspiracy, because Donald Trump is essentially taking on the most evil people in the world. And so I don't know the details of this recent attempt, but those of us in the intelligence community have known for a long time that the left, and some of us believe that the left was being gaslit into trying to take a shot at Trump to stop him. There's enough mentally ill people in the world that sooner or later, some cuckoo bird is going to take a shot at the president. In particular, this president. Okay, so because he's so controversial. Another assassination attempt that I want to remind people of is the Steve Scalise assassination attempt. That was a mass political assassination attempt. That was not a mass shooting. That was a mass political assassination attempt to try and kill a large number of Republicans, all in one instance, so that they could change the demographics of the House of Representatives. That was not a mass shooting event. It was a mass assassination attempt. I have spent the last, really going back to the Beirut bombings, I have studied terrorism. I was the senior domestic terrorism collection strategist at the DNI in the months leading up to January 6th. even all the way back then, we were very worried about well, I was, not everybody, but I was very worried about the fragility in the country, the grievances coming to a head that could ultimately be taken advantage of and cause chaos. And I actually warned the FBI Domestic Terrorism Task Force in October of 2020 that we needed to be on guard because I was afraid we were headed into something really bad. So what I'm trying to get at is this. We are going through a cultural revolution in the United States right now. We are in a cultural revolution. And I also, as a man of faith, I also believe that we are fighting principalities of evil. So all of that stuff being said, they will try again. I'm telling you right now, some cuckoo bird is going to be gaslit into trying to kill the president again. That is how afraid they are of Donald Trump. The first time they tried to assassinate him, I was in tears, literally. And I haven't cried like that in a long time. And I think all of us felt very similarly, many of us. Now I'm angry. Now I'm angry. We need an absolute utter accountability, and we need an absolute condemnation. No ands, ifs, or buts about it from the left, that they condemn these actions, that they absolutely condemn them. And if they don't do that, then they do not belong in office, any of them. Every single Democrat needs to vehemently come out against this and say that this is not tolerated at all in our American politics. It is not tolerated. And if they don't do that, then I say that they are cowards. I say they are complicit. And I say that they are hopeful, just like many of the videos that we all saw of Democrats that were saddened by the fact that the first assassination attempt wasn't successful. It is an egregious violation, and any single person anywhere in the country that does not condemn this needs to be outed. We need to know who they are, because these are people who do not believe in democracy. They do not believe in the rule of law. They are the problem. And I don't care what their opinion is. They are the problem, because they are the ones gaslighting these mentally ill people. And I don't know if this guy's mentally ill. The last guy was clearly mentally ill. This guy is likely mentally ill. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll jump off the mic because I'm notorious for talking way too long. Hopefully I'm being substantive. The last thing I will say is this. I believe the U.S. government, I believe every American citizen right now, every American citizen that is on, that is a conscientious, constitution-loving, rule of law-loving citizen, we need to be thinking about how we will react if they are successful, because these people are determined. They are determined to stop him from being the president. They will do anything they can. They've used lawfare. They've impeached him. They're talking about preventing him from being the president as an insurrectionist, even though they already tried to impeach him on that. They've tried to assassinate him twice. I'm telling you guys, everybody out there, this is a pivotal moment in American history that every single Democrat must be required to condemn this. And if they don't, they are complicit. And they are the ones that are gaslighting these cuckoo birds into doing it. And so, Jen, again, thank you for letting me speak. You know, thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you and appreciate your insight and all that you brought to the table. And we do spaces on January 6th. So if you were in that position leading up to January 6th, I would love to talk to you about what was going on. But I don't want to derail from the Trump assassination. But I would love to have that conversation with you if you're available.
I think I'm kind of jumping I'm just jumping. I just came back from a football game. I know nothing about this assassination. Will somebody please fill me in?
Yeah, no problem. So today, President Trump was playing golf at his property in West Palm Beach when a would-be assassin set up a sniper post or a sniper nest and had two plates like around his head in case he was going to take incoming fire. By the grace of God, the Secret Service was able to spot the barrel of his rifle, and he engaged the shooter, which the shooter then ran, hopped a fence, jumped into his car apparently, which a citizen, an amazing American hero, had the wherewithal to take a picture of the license plate and get that to authorities immediately, which they were able to put out the license plate on the license plate trackers that Florida has. A bolo was put out on his car in his name, so he was able to be arrested in the neighboring county of Martin, I believe, where he was apprehended. We are finding out that he has been actively recruiting Afghan soldiers and any other mercenaries that would like to go and fight on behalf of Ukraine. Very outspoken about Zelensky and Ukraine. So we're just gathering the information.
Right,
We don't really have any like concrete.
So this
stuff.
this is a very, very real threat. I'm sorry. I came back from Washington.
Oh no, this was an attempted assassination. This is the second attempted assassination attempt. We know this. The FBI has admitted it. So once again, a person has had a plan and tried to execute the killing of President Trump.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just I'm disappointed. I came back from a Patriot loss. I had to drive for 2.5 hours, and I came home to assassination attempt. So I have no idea what the hell happened. So please,
no, you're
forgive
good,
me.
sir. Oh no, good. You're fine, sir. I just don't want people to think like this wasn't an assassination attempt. Like this was an assassination attempt. This wasn't some random guy with a gun.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
What's going to happen when the Patriots, the lone wolves, cut loose on the Democrats?
Well, sir, you know what? We don't condone violence of any sort in here, and that's not what we're
Jen,
here for.
Jen, can I jump in? Can I jump in?
Yeah,
Jen,
can I just
okay, I'm sorry.
finish?
Listen. I know, but this is what I've spent the last several years working on with regard to domestic terrorism. And I'm telling you, we absolutely have to prevent that from happening at all costs, because only people who have not been involved in combat overseas and or wars think that any of that is even a possible solution. It will not be a solution. It would be a nightmare. So we not only condemn the violence, we have to be on guard for anyone out there that is supportive of it or advocates for it. We absolutely have to be on guard for anyone who's advocating for that kind of violence of any kind.
I did not advocate. I was just curious. I was just curious.
Yeah, we just have a responsibility because there's like 200 people in this room. Like, we don't want to be seen as condoning or promoting any kind of sort of violence. So if my reaction was a little bit vitriol, it's because like I've literally had my life blown up over this shit. So
I'm sorry. My response is based on the Patriots losing and the Mets winning. So I'm kind of confused in my own self.
Sir, you're talking to a New Yorker. My Mets finally won. Holy shit!
Don't you curse us. Don't you curse us. I'm from Queens. Don't you curse us.
My mom's from Queens. She's from Rego Park.
I'm from Floral Park.
Oh, very nice. I have friends from there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, sir. We really appreciate you.
I'm a half mile away from the ballpark.
Oh man, so you're hearing all the loud roars.
I don't know. I just came back from a disappointing game and I found out about an assassination. And I don't know what to think about it. I really don't. To be honest with you, I'm just tired. I want to go to sleep. I just want to go to sleep tonight, wake up tomorrow and come up with a game plan. But right now, I am just emotionally wrecked right now.
I feel the exact same way. There was just so many people in the other space and they didn't get a chance to get on stage and speak that I just wanted to give everybody kind of an outlet to come vent their frustration so we don't have people taking crazy routes.
You know what?
But
You know what? I love all of you. You're patriots. But I do have to go to sleep. And so, we'll get, hold on. I have to follow you, Jen. Yeah. Well, I already am following you. Jesus. I'm already following you, so I can't follow you again. But
well, I appreciate the follow, sir. I have other people's hands on stage. I do have to cut you off a little bit. Why don't you go get some rest and come back tomorrow and we'll talk about solutions.
Good night, all.
Good night. Have a good night,
You
sir.
too.
Thanks. Okay, I have no idea who's next, so I'm just calling on the only female on this.
Oh, no.
Let's go to Les. Oh my God, do not start with me. Believe me, I am not.
Is that Ted?
All right. Oh my God, do not poke the bear, people. Let's go to less deplorables. Thank you.
Oh, hey, I was on the other space and I didn't get to speak, so I'm going to try to be pretty quick, but I have a list of little things I want to kind of say. But hi, Jen, and hi, G. We definitely have to have the Democrats stop saying the threats to democracy, because that's just gaslighting everybody and making everybody crazy. I'm very concerned about the FBI investigating. They didn't do a good job investigating the last time. And I know somebody was trying to get, I guess, Ron DeSantis to kind of have the police take over the investigation before the FBI took it, but the FBI jumped on it. And also, people were talking about, they were wondering why there's so much hatred and stuff and division. And from what I can see from talking to, Democrats here and there, the ones that really, really hate Trump, I kind of ask them, because I can't see how they can even vote for Kamala or Biden. It escapes my brain. I don't understand how. But what it comes down to is they all know that Kamala and Biden is pretty much the scapegoat for Obama. It's going to be Obama's third term with a Biden, and he wants his fourth term coming up. So when I asked them if Obama happened to be sent to Mars or whatever, and he's not on this planet anymore, would you still vote for them? And they totally ignore me, don't even answer. So I really think it's just pretty much an Obama globalist, pretty much against America is the way I'm kind of looking at it. And what else did I want to say? And we even heard Obama on video saying, if my perfect stance would be if I'm down in the basement and I have a little earpiece in my ear and I can control everything from there, I'd be fine and happy with that. And Obama's so arrogant, he tells us exactly what he does. But I think the other thing I kind of thought about the golf course, and I'm like, what can we do to make it safer? I mean, I thought of an electric fence, motion detector. I mean, they have cameras up on trees in wilderness, kind of taping people. I just, there has to be a better way. And I also think that the Secret Service is doing a disservice. And somebody mentioned quality versus quantity. Yeah, we can have a lot of Secret Service, but we want a lot of good Secret Service. Or I think like retired military would be great for Trump. But that's all I have to say. But thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming up. Really appreciate you. Great points. And, there has to be something that can be done, right? Like, you can't tell me that they cannot secure a Trump property at a golf course, right? Like, that just seems so ridiculous to me. And when that guy, like, in the other space, like, was saying that, I couldn't help but say something, because I was like, this is what he's saying. He's gaslighting everybody right now. Right. And saying, oh, well, I'm an expert and I say this. And it's like, OK, well, I might not be an expert, but I have a brain, and I'm not just going to let you like sit up here and like spew bullshit. Like, it's not happening. But thank you. That's supportable. Appreciate you. Margot, jump in here.
Well, I'm always trying to find the silver lining, because this is tragic and it's upsetting and everybody's upset about it. But let me tell you the silver lining for people that want to hear one. This guy has an open voter registration in North Carolina. And he has an active voter registration in Hawaii at the same time. And I have pictures of both of them. And he recently voted in the primary here. So this actually helps our case in North Carolina to get our voter rolls cleaned up and to make the case that you don't have to live in North Carolina to vote here, because we've been saying that forever and they don't listen to us. But now we have attention of the globe and the states, and I have his registration from both states. He is booked in with a Hawaii driver's license, but he voted in North Carolina during the primary. So like, this is big for me because like, I'm really upset about what's happened to President Trump. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also fighting to save my state at the same time. And if this scumbag helps me blow the lid on it, I'm going to do it. So I'm just letting you know, there's a silver lining here that we're going to use to our advantage. May not mean much to all of you, but it means a hell of a lot to me because North Carolina is in play. They're trying their damnedest to steal the state. And we found a way to show that they are doing it. And we're going to use it to our advantage. Thanks, Jen.
I love you, Margot. I just wanted to say that. I just had a bust in, just say I love you, Margot. You my girl.
Love you, Margot. Thank you for that. Okay, let's go to Lighthouse.
Good morning here. Good evening there. I've been following this election for a very long time, and I happen to be a Trump fan, a big one. And I sincerely don't know why some persons, I don't want to use some certain words, we want to go after someone's life who has the interest of Americans. I'm not an American. I'm a Nigerian, but I sincerely don't like when people put themselves first before their nation. And Trump is someone who I've been following for a very long time that can put his life at stake for his country, America. And the Biden administration, to be honest with you, to be very honest with you, it has weakened America. Like America used to know when I was 13, 12, I always said to myself, oh, this is my dream country, because they are strong in terms of economy, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of security, and all the rest. But this weakness started when the so-called Obama came in, and the people thought, oh, maybe there could be a kind of a change, a stronger America. But rather, during Obama's time, there was a lot of terror attack and the war here and then, as if that wasn't enough. Even when President Trump came in, the first 4 years he ruled, there was no single war. There was none, single war. There was none. And I didn't know how you guys let go of him. I don't believe that he lost that election. I don't know how they get rid of him, but
we didn't let go of him. They stole it. They literally stole it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's use the word they stole it. And the Biden administration, I sincerely, to be honest, I know my country is not working at the moment, but I prefer the man sitting as a president in my country than Joe Biden. Like, to be honest, he literally doesn't understand what America represents. America is getting weak here and there, and someone wants to make America great and strong again. And some persons, they used to marvel me how some persons we tend to endorse Harris. Okay, let even come to the debate. I follow the debate. I have to stay awake for like four to 5 hours just to make sure I follow up that debate. The question they were asking in the NBC, I think it's NBC or ABC, something that the question they were asking Harris, Comrade Harris, he never answered one. Rather, he was busy attacking Donald Trump. Trump attacking him. He dodged all the questions, and it baffled me that even CNN and other TV stations were able to say that he won the debate. He never won any debate because he was not able to even answer a single question straight. He was just blabbing, this one, that wasn't a debate. And coming to and the FBI have to be very serious. The first assassination, up to now, I've not heard any reliable source about that one. And this is the second one. Please, you guys should do as much as possible. I think, I don't know if there's anything like grassroots in America there. You guys there should be able to do grassroots mobilization for Donald Trump to make sure you guys kick Kamala Harris out. I think she being the chief in commander will make America the worst country ever. Believe me, this people like Iran, Iraq, and all these terrorist countries will invade America and take everything that belongs to you guys. Please, you guys should know. There's a friend of mine. Sorry, Miranda. There's a friend of mine that said, "You don't reward failure. You do not reward failure. This administration have failed you guys. All you need to do is you don't have to hate anyone. You don't have to make issue with anyone. You have to sensitize Americans who maybe they are
okay,
being
listen, Linda. Okay, listen. I understand you're from Nigeria, but I'm not going to sit here and have you lecture me on what we should do in our elections. I'm sorry. And what you're saying, there are people out here every single day risking their lives and working their asses off at the behest of the government, which is actively working against us, which is actively censoring us, arresting us, raiding us, and putting us in prison and holding us as political prisoners, right? You are looking at this from the America where the Americans are sitting on their asses and not doing anything. That is completely not what's happening here, right? Maybe you should look a little to Nazi Germany, because that's what really we're experiencing. And to be honest, you probably have more freedom of speech in Nigeria than we have in America right now. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I had to say something.
Okay, no problem. I sincerely understand that part, but I'm just trying to motivate. I'm not trying to, dance cut your effort or anyone's. If I know you guys are pushing very hard, and I know you guys will win, and come November, hopefully, I will join you on the space to celebrate your victory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like, I don't mean to be rude, right? It's just like, I don't think people in other countries really realize like how far gone America actually is, and that like what we are experiencing is so not American, right? And the rights and the freedoms that have just been stolen away from us. And yes, you know what? Everybody was asleep for a really long time, right? And now we're at a point where like everybody's awake. And they want to do something, right? But what do? Like, they are taking pop shots at the president. And our recourse is to have a Twitter space and talk about how we're angry, right? Like, we don't really know what to do. And you have people like George Santos in here and other people who understand Congress. And they're like, oh, well, maybe if the perimeter was breached. And it's like, well, wait a second. Like, this is the second, like, assassination attempt, right? Like, how many more do we have to have before you're like, wow, this seems to be a concerted effort? But Lighthouse, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. All right, let's go to Sleepy.
Hey, patiently waiting. Really appreciate the energy that you have, Jen, and all of you guys. Thank you for having me up. My thing is I'm more of a problem solver when these things have happened, or it's only been 2 of them. So my last time was to get outside protection for him because Secret Service is not going to allow him inside. But I was thinking we need to build a perimeter parameters around him where we're allowed to go, either with ex-military or private civilians that are willing to be vetted, 25 to 50, or if we have to do it in every little town that he's going to, because he travels so much. And I know I've talked to people that know that he does not or did not. Now, look, everybody, this was prior to these things happening to him. He did not want to be crushed into a circle of security and ruin his life in regards to the quality of his life, because he wants to live too, right? He's a man that wants to live with some space. If you can imagine yourself being, compressed into this bubble of other people securing you, it's not a comfortable life. So unfortunately, maybe he's changed his tune now, but again, my problem solving mind goes into effect when this happens again. It's a simple problem to solve. This is not, I don't need some intelligence degree or from an intelligence agency to get this figured out. The drone above, watching out to his next hole, and people walking beyond the Secret Service envelope to protect and to inspect. It's not that difficult, right? Everybody can figure it out. And so luckily the one guy, or I want to know how many were out in front of him, figured it out. I don't know why I want to know, but a lot of times I just also think about, how can words in these spaces help, is the future. We got to make a change in the future. You can't just use words. We actually have to use action. So these are the actions. So you had in the other space, you had a couple of powerful people. I know Dustin's a powerful guy too, but Ivan Ranklin, he really cares about our country and what's going to happen in the future. I mean, I'm sure he has connections. There's a lot of very patriotic, qualified people that would get together and provide outside circle ring protection for him if he's going to continue to just go around and do his, which I think he will. He'll do his rallies, he'll do his events. But like you said, Jen, you're very astute. He has had his life almost taken twice now. So this, he didn't get close enough to it. Maybe it won't affect him, and he still thinks he's impervious to this or whatever, but he needs to take it real serious. And I hope somebody can get into his ear and say that to him. And it's probably, I hope it's his kids or whoever, but we need to also provide an offer to him. And, I have some contacts there too. And I know Margot does also, but how do we actually affect the plan? We have 2 months to protect him. We really need to continue on through his election. That was one thing. And then I was wondering, do you notice that whenever they put pictures in, like the time picture that they put just a disgusting picture of him? He looks great right now. He's lost weight. He looks better than ever. And they always put these shitty ass pictures up on CNN, MSNBC, and then the Times. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The guy is looking better and stronger than anybody right now. So kind of disgusted me. And the point earlier that was made that was somewhat impressive, and it's true, is that the Democrats should already have been coming out and in disgust of this event. And because it's a clear second attempt, clearly, and then the other thing they use, it's the AK-47, right? That's the first thing that comes out, which is the gun ban that they want to ban. So it's all feeding into their scenario. And I just hope everybody has their eyes open and is listening clearly, that it has multiple prongs of what they want to accomplish. And we just need to see through it and keep him safe. Because again, the other speaker said, well, what happens if they're successful? Who will be our next one to step up? And unfortunately, that could possibly be. But I don't want to, I'd rather go with the security. I'd rather go, and we really should go full force so we don't have any regrets. Jen, you talked about this last time when the first attempt happened, was that we don't want to have any regrets. So let's please now move on my plan and talk to the Patriots. If it costs money, if it costs whatever, we could get a Patriot group together to protect him at a ring of, whatever, the 100 yards that we need to be away to scan and be, be fruitful and connect people and make sure that he's protected, because it's important. Anyway, that was a couple of my points.
Appreciate it, Sophie. I mean, unfortunately, the problem we're running into is that following January 6th, any of those patriot groups, I mean, even if they are outlined in our Constitution, were kind of undermined and broken up and, made to be domestic terrorists to the point like they've been getting their houses raided and stuff. So it's kind of hard, right, for me to sit here and say, yeah, let's round up the Patriot groups. I think maybe that's a discussion for community organizers or somebody like that to kind of have. But I think doing it in public, they will use it as a target weapon against people. And I think we should be cognizant of that.
Well, you had Vinny and you had, I think one other, you had, I think Chad was in that space. And then your husband, I mean, they're powerful guys that they get together and say, okay, we're going to create a group. And even Dilly, I think Dilly would
100%.
care. I think Dilly would care. And he has a large
100%. And I'm not saying those powerful men wouldn't do that. What I'm saying is the button of record is on, right? And they purposely use those words and those organizing things to target people and to take you out of the game. And I'm just being cognizant that we should just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I just want that extra 25 guys around. I just want that extra, because then they don't use the excuse, we didn't have the resources. You know, our resources were diverted for
sure. For sure. No, I get you, Sleepy, and I hope you get me too. But I do want to welcome Millie Weaver to the stage. Millie, give us your thoughts.
Hey, Jen. Hey, everyone. Well, this is just, I mean, I would say it's shocking. It's terrible, but I can't really say it's shocking because, you know, even after that first attempt happened, I feel like most of us were in spaces talking about how we predict that this will not be an isolated incident and that there will be more attempts on Trump in the future. And that's one of the reasons why I was really insistent. Like, I didn't think that it was a good idea to do some of these rallies, but I understand why you don't want to let them win, right? You don't want to let them try to suppress Trump's ability to get out there and have his large rallies, because then they'll just try to lie that he has dwindling support. And then we won't actually have documented proof that he's still turning out large stadiums full of people. So I get it. I see it from both sides. But at the same time, I do really care, and I'm very concerned about Trump as a person and his safety as a person, right? Like, we're thinking about the movement and what we're trying to win and accomplish, but Trump, the human being, should put his safety first. I just think he should. He's got grandbabies, he's got children, he's got a whole family that, you know, would be completely devastated. I know our country would be, you know, there's a lot of people out there that would be really upset and hurt. But, you know, he's got, you know, close family and grandbabies. So it's so sad. It's so disgusting that the left has gotten to this level of hatred. But at the same time, I'm looking into this guy and I'm seeing like there's all these bizarre connections with him in Ukraine. And I can't help but see that this is once again that kind of foreign NATO, Ukraine kind of connection, wherein the people who originally were playing a role in rigging the 2020 election and pre-planning J6 were connected in as well to the UN NATO agenda in Ukraine. And so what you end up seeing is there's this pattern here where there's people at NATO that really can't afford to let Trump win, because Trump's foreign policy will directly interfere with their global plans. Their plans for Ukraine, their plans on the big map. And so they don't care what the American people think. They don't want us to have a choice in who our president is, because they want to use our country and our country's military might on the grand scale to enact their global agenda, if that makes sense. So there's European, globalist, elitist interests in Trump not being president and Biden being president. And we, the American people, are in the way of that because we're voting for Trump. They can't convince us to not vote for him. They've tried every freaking trick in the book, including naming him a felon with their witch hunt in New York with Alvin Bragg, who's just one of their puppets who they bankrolled and endorsed and backed. And that didn't work. So the only thing they have now is to kill him. That's all they have. And they're going to try and try and try and try until they do. They are going to continue until they do. Or until maybe they just outright drag us into war so they can declare a state of emergency and cancel the election. I don't know. But this to me is a sign that they're fearful of their ability to actually rig the election in the favor of Kamala. And I think the cat fiasco is only making it harder for them because a lot of people are waking up because of the lies of ABC and the lies of the mainstream media in that debate. It was the fact that this was the number one crazy thing. And I'm going to just leave it at this, and then I want you guys to get a comment on this. The shocking thing to me, what I saw, because I was following all these TikTok communities, which I know Jen's on TikTok, so follow her. She's always retweeting and sharing the best stuff on there. But on TikTok, I was really looking into how like the normies, the normatives, were responding to the cat, Haitians eating cats thing and Trump saying that. And the number one tell that the normies actually were set off by in that whole exchange between David Muir and Trump was the fact that they had the pre-scripted fact check about the cat claim. So it wasn't that Trump made the claim about they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. Because they, like, somebody who's not paying attention to politics at all, they hear this claim and they're like, wait, what? What did he just say? Like breaks, what the hell did he just say? And they're like, is this guy like on something? Like, this sounds crazy. This doesn't even sound believable. But then it was the fact that David Muir had this preempted fact check where he said, actually, we reached out to the local authorities and the police, and they said there are no credible reports of this. No. That was what everyone was sent into suspect mode. Everyone was like, wait, there is something to this? What is this? And they had a pre-readied fact check for this? Like, what? And then people went online, and I know that the search term was massively trending of Haitians eating cats, and people were like looking this up everywhere. And if you typed Haitians eating cats on X or on TikTok, you just got endless videos of probably the most graphic, disturbing things you'd ever see. But yes, Haitians eating cats. Okay, tons of it. And then I'm watching like the reaction. A bunch of leftists, like, we're full on talking like PETA, LGBTQ people freaking out over the realization that yes, indeed, they are eating cats. And that was like the beginning moment of the realization that the media lies. And then that's the moment where they go, what else are they lying about? So yeah, I want to get your guys' take on that one.
No, Millie, and that's what I was seeing, right? Like, the attacks against Trump are not hitting with the left like we think they are. And that's why I keep coming into these spaces and I'm like, wait a second, guys, like, we might think these things are like the end of the world. And yes, the mainstream media is blowing them out of proportion. But like, the left is actually like, wait a second, like, what is going on here? Like, why are you trying to take Trump out? Why are they fact checking? Why did it look like Kamala had an earpiece in? Right? Like, all of these things that people are like, why are they trying so hard? And it's having the opposite effect of the left. And that's why, Millie, I do think that they're concerned in their ability to even steal the election, and they're running into like a 2016 problem. And if you look at it, it becomes very, very apparent that Hillary Clinton is the one running Kamala. Like, I don't know, like, what Obama's doing, right? But like, if you compare Hillary Clinton to Kamala Harris, just side by side, Grok will do it for you. You can type it in right now. And the absolute, like, even the way they handle the media, even the way they dress, even her mannerisms, how she's talking, her cadence is slowly becoming Hillary Clinton. And then with this Haitian thing, in my opinion, the last thing the Clintons would want is for everybody to start digging into Haiti, because what they're going to find out is, guess how much money that went to the Clinton Foundation actually went to the people of Haiti to rebuild Haiti to the spec and code that it should have been? Pretty much none of it. None of it. Right? All of that money was laundered right through the Clinton Foundation. And there is big problems. And the people of Haiti are fucking pissed at the Clintons. Like real pissed. Right? So like there is a lot of elements of these things where, yes, it was the talking point of, oh, they're eating the cats, right? But there was so much buried under that statement that I don't think people were prepared for. Co-host, anybody? If not, I'll go to somebody else. Okay, I'm going to somebody else. All right, let's go to Lindsay.
Oh, hey, Jen. Yeah, I was just wondering, I wanted to, the whole eating cats thing. I know that there's been some, like, I guess, reports and stuff that sound like animals are disappearing or something, but do we really think that's happening? Do we really think it's happening there? It's just an honest question, because it's very troubling.
No, it's 100% happening, Lindsay. Like, they are seriously stealing people's pets, cats, dogs, fucking ducks, geese. Like, all of that is happening, right? And the problem is, what I think it really exposes is that these people were sold a bill of sale. Come to America, we'll take care of you, whatever. Like, you don't think these Haitian peoples, after living in Haiti their whole lives, don't want to eat American food if they had the ability to eat American food? Like, do you really think they want to be like, oh, I could eat at Chick-fil-A, but I guess I'll go eat the freaking geese in the park, which have diseases, right? Like, it is absolutely happening. And it's not only exposing like the fact that they're allowing like voodoo shit happening, because right, that's another element, and it's not conspiracy space, but I really do want to talk about like this whole voodoo element and black magic that we're seeing being used here in Kamala Harris. But the fact is that the people who brought them here are not properly taking care of these people, right? And now you have a situation where you have brought massive amounts of people into this country where their EBT card or whatever card is just supposed to be refilled and magic money appears in their account. And if that money doesn't start happening, okay, these people throw down differently than we do in this country. Okay, they have no problem of stealing and eating pets and killing people. Okay, like they're not Americans, right? So it's not, but a long short answer is yes, they are eating these pets, they are eating the cats, and the left is trying to cover it up.
Yeah, no, and to that point, I think it's obviously tragic for the cats and other pets and people that are having this. I mean, I'm a big animal activist myself, and just been talking to a lot of people in my kind of frame of life, you know, and they haven't really been able to find, you know, anything to kind of like, you know, go on yet. Like I've talked to a couple people at PETA and, you know, people that I interact with a lot because I do a lot of animal rescue work, and we just, you know, haven't been able to find anything yet. So if you guys do come up with something, we'd love to know about it. Like actually who the people are and if there is a way to kind of rescue or whatever. There is a case right now in New York with voodoo that's going on that's quite interesting, but it's apparently it's something that may or may not have been staged, which is kind of, they're looking into that right now. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, like Lindsay, go to Diligent's page right now, and he has an interview with a lady about eating pets, right? Like Diligent is on the ground in Springfield interviewing people whose pets are literally missing, right? And then you go over to the neighboring counties, right? Because what they're doing, what we have been hearing, right, and it's on TikTok as well, is that, sorry, my earbud fell out, is that they have somehow, right, whether it's through the app or if somebody showed up at these people's doors, right, the immigrants, right, and they were like, yo, press is in town, total blackout, do not talk to any media, make sure you stay indoors, right? Like, we don't want to see you out running around. So all of this media shows up to cover what these townspeople have been screaming about. and getting like no help whatsoever. And now all of a sudden, oh, the problem's disappeared. Except if you go over to the neighboring counties or the other places where they have these people, you can walk in and see it blatantly right there. But when the media shows up, everything stops. Who is communicating with those people, and how are they getting the message that the media is in town and to stay inside?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting too. I mean, it's so hard right now. Like I think somebody was saying something about it earlier today about truth and like, you know, how hard it is to kind of figure out what the truth is right now with everything. It's so hard. And I think it actually might even be an issue of like perception as well as, and I think you actually touched on this in the other room, but it's like I feel like everyone's almost living in like different realities. Like it's like a multiverse or something. Like, and some people have one perception of truth and other people have another perception, and it's just not adding up. I mean, the thing with Trump today, I loved what you were saying, Jen. You know, you were so passionate, and I can tell you care so much, and it's really special. Like you really are a champion, and I know you've been through so much. So I appreciate, you know, what you've been through, and you're always kind of like right at the front line, you know, with some of the stuff that you come up with and that you think of, because you have this amazing brain that's like super intellectual and you really care. Your heart's really in it, and I appreciate that. It makes me feel really good that I met you here on X. But I'm just really sad about the country, and I think like I said, the thing we were talking about in the other room that just keeps still resonating with me is, you know, calling Trump like this threat to democracy. And I say this, like I said, as a Democrat, it's so horrible because it's not, that's not what it is. You know, it's making people fear and making people feel intimidated. That's a threat to democracy, I believe. Because then they don't go to work. You know, they don't want to run. They're afraid to say the things that they need to say. And I think you have to be really bold, and you have to be able to talk to each other, and you have to be able to say things that you want to say. Like, I really want to see, I felt like Trump was getting beat up in that debate, and like he wasn't really saying what he wanted to say, probably because he was afraid there might be a bullet on the other side. That's concerning. That's very concerning. You know, we don't want that for someone. And for him to just be on the golf course, like I said today, it's very troubling. You know, what if his grandkids, I know his grandkids play with him, and what if they were there? What if one of them caught a bullet? You know, how would any of us feel? And that's the point, is this is meant to scare not Trump. It's meant to scare Americans. It's meant to scare you to not go out. Because like, you know, everybody always says, they say, you know, they're going to go after him and they're going to come after us. There's actually a funny little anecdote that I always think about when this happens, but there's this little, it's short and you can go to the next person, but there's this little rat that lives in a barn, and he sees one night the farmer has put out this trap, and he's like, runs to all the animals and he's like, the farmer put out a trap. I think he's trying to kill me. And the chicken's like, well, I won't fit in that trap. I'm fine. And he's like, but the farmer's trying to kill me. None of you guys really care, you know. And he goes to the cow, and the cow's like, well, I'll be fine because I provide the milk, you know. And he goes to the horse, and the horse says, well, he rides me every day. He needs me. You know, you're a pest. You eat all the grain. He's like, no, I've been in this barn. I get rid of all the insects. Like, I have a purpose too. Anyway, long story short, the next day he looks in the trap, and a snake has been caught in the trap, an actual snake. So what happens is the farmer's wife decides to try to free the snake from the trap. I mean, you can see where this is going. So the farmer's wife tries to free that snake, and it bites her and gives her this, you know, terrible poison, and she ends up having to go to the hospital. So you can imagine this turns the farmer's life into hell. Meanwhile, the rat is sitting here going, holy shit, I just dodged a bullet. Look at that snake. He's dead. And he goes back to all the animals and he says, look, he says, this just happened. That snake's gone. He said, something's going to happen here. Meanwhile, guess what happens? Exactly what he said. Well, there was supposedly some sort of in the lamb, there's some kind of thing with the blood that if you give that to, you know, someone who's had a snake bite, it will heal them. Well, guess what? That lamb got on the chopping block that day because the farmer's trying to save his wife. The next day they started running out of money. Well, where'd that chicken go? Right in the boiling pot. Chicken's over because, you know, daddy needs to make dinner for mama who's sick. And then guess what? That cow, well, she was next. So the point of the story is that when they come for one person, when something is happening and you see somebody getting it, you are definitely next 100% of the time. So anyway, thanks for having me. Love you guys. Appreciate the space.
Thanks, Lindsay. Really appreciate what you said. Thank you. Okay. Oh Lord. Let's go.
It was Paul, and then Baghdadi. He's been up here waiting for quite some time. Both of them have.
All right, let's go to Baghdadi, then we'll go to Paul.
Hey, what's going on, Jen? Nice to see everybody. I haven't met the co-host. Nice to see you, Kimberly and G. I hope that's how you want me to say your name. And everybody else here in the speaker panel. I'm 24 years old. I appreciate being up here and you guys giving me the time to speak and ask questions. As you know, I want to pioneer a great future for America myself, just like you ladies and men in here are doing. And I commend you. I do. So obviously a horrible day, but a good, I mean, obviously you look at it however you want to. You know, it's very unfortunate that we let these things even happen. The first one shouldn't even have happened. We all agree with that. But then we should have learned from the mistake, right? So even though, you know, we could go in and out about saying like it wasn't that dangerous, or you know, we did the best we could or whatever, and we got them. But you know, this is really a huge statement for me to see that. Now I'm in the South, so we're pretty extreme people in our beliefs, and we've thought like this for a long time. But what I see now more than ever is kind of the awakening of this will never stop. And you know, I think that these spaces are tremendous, and they're absolutely phenomenal to have, because it's really the only thing we can have right now is our word, as they've pretty much shut down everything else that we can do in those regards, right? And I also want to say Lighthouse, I deal with a lot of people across the globe through what I do online, and I appreciate you even saying the things that you did, and I appreciate you, Jim, for kind of correcting them a little bit on our standpoint as Americans. So my question is for everybody here basically is, you know, what are we doing next to assure that I mean, in my opinion, this should close everything. He should be the president of the United States from here on out. Now, this should have like definitely etched his name, right? In my opinion, this is what I'm thinking. And what are we going to do for the safety, not just till the election, because till the election's awesome. Let's make it there and let's get him in. But there's a long time that he's going to be in there, and he's got to fix a lot of stuff. And it doesn't just go down to him, because his message in the eyes of somebody like me at 24 years old, his message isn't like, hey, I'm this old, I only have this long to live, I'm going to take care of it all for you. No, he's saying these are the issues at hand, and we must be ready and awoken, because once it's gone, we're done, right? It's already gone too far. And where we go from here is it's very important, very important. It's a pivotal part of American history in general. And if you're a mother or a father right now, I commend you greatly, because this is probably one of the best times that you could ever be remembered throughout history is right now, in my belief. And you guys are doing a great job bringing up your children in such a harsh environment. And you know, in my opinion, with my mentors and the people I'm around, I'm a little bit different than a lot of 24-year-olds. We've always talked about, like, as kids, even because my mentors, they don't have kids and they're older than me, and you know, they focus on business, and I always, you know, did the same things they did. So that's how I was kind of brought up. But you know, they was kind of saying, is it even worth it? And I think it's more worth it now than ever, because this is really, you know, this is the things that they want you to do, right? To not push the agenda of being America first, and freedom of speech, our Second Amendment, everything that we believe in. You know, these are the things that we must push on. And what we must remember always, and I know I'm young, I'm mostly here to listen. So after I, you know, get done here, I'm going to just shut up. But what we must remember is that we are America, and we don't bow down, right? And we don't quit, because the moment we quit, especially now more than ever, we are going to have everything taken away from us in a snap of a finger. And everything that we're doing right now is probably the best thing that we can do. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in here that's even showing up. These spaces are awesome. These spaces are awesome. I don't come in here a lot and speak, but it's definitely worth your time coming in here, learning and hearing other people talk. For me, especially, I want to hear people older than me. My papa, he told me the other day, I asked him, because, you know, he's an old man, you know, but he's got a lot of wisdom. He's wise, just like a lot of people that are older. And they've seen the 60s and the 70s, the 80s, and so on, right? And I ask him, I say, Pap, what do you think about what's going on, and where do you think we're heading? And he's really quiet man, a farmer, and he said, man, the last time that I seen something like this happen was close to this was the 60s. And he said, and it was a time, he said, my father told me, he's speaking, right? He said, my father told me, you'll remember the day that you have to buy bread with a barrel of money, right? Or something rather. You guys know the saying. And I said, really, you think so? And he said, yeah, absolutely. He says, we're almost there. And he said, it's just like Germany, it's just like everything that you ever read about and heard of. This is what we're going to. So I just want to say, guys, I appreciate you, and I'm listening. My ears are open, and I want to learn. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Let's go to who is next? Paul, go ahead.
Hi, Jen. I'm feeling melancholy at this point, but I think I finally understand, like, when a journalist is like there and breaking news, and then like no one listens to them, because I was kind of going through that in that space today. I'm still looking at this guy's Facebook. I have it right here on my computer. Like, I'm still able to look at it, and I'm going through all the people that have left comments in his Facebook, because I have some of those open and seeing who these people are. Some of them agree with him. I mean, he seemed to be associating with all kinds of veterans and stuff. Anyway, I didn't know. I was trying to tell you guys in real time, because I was about 20 minutes ahead of the space the entire time. Carol Markowitz was the one who, if you didn't know already, you probably do, but if you didn't, she was the one that got the photo from law enforcement. It was leaked to her, and then she went on Megyn Kelly, and I was trying to tell you guys, hey, this woman's going on Megyn Kelly. So she's the one who got the photo that went out across the entire X space, and also I believe the name, and that's how everybody found out who it was. So somebody in law enforcement leaked this out, which was great, because obviously we were all able to jump on it. We all rushed to social media. We all got on this Facebook. I mean, someone else already put his entire Facebook page, but they didn't get the comments, which I have here. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll post it. I got photos, and I'm sending them all to Mike Benz. I'll let him do the investigation and find out. Some of this stuff is in Arabic as well, or Afghani or something. So nothing. I just, it's a terrible day, obviously, because I don't know if the news is going to give it the credibility it deserves. Basically, Trump has a second assassination attempt. It's not clear yet. I think just to clarify, it looks like CNN and Alex Jones are claiming that there was a firefight, that this guy fired first, and then Secret Service responded. Where Secret Service and New York Post are reporting that Secret Service was the only one that fired. So I think that clarity is still out there, and we still need to figure out, was this a firefight first? Did this guy shoot at Donald Trump first, and then it was responded on, or did Secret Service actually see him first, like they said in the trees? Because obviously they don't want to look as bad if this is another situation where Trump and his party may have been shot out first. Because 300 to 500 yards, just so everyone knows, with that rifle that they had is definitely within range of a lethal attack. So I think those questions still haven't been answered, and that's what I'm waiting to find out. And I think everybody's trying to figure that out right now. So other than that, I don't know. I don't know if you have any questions, if there's anything that you felt like you need to fill in the gaps. Like I said, there was a lot of info I had for you guys then. And man, I'm beat, like, emotionally at this point. So, I never come in like this, Jen. I don't know. You've heard me before. I never speak like this. But it's been hard. It's just been a little hard. I hope next time I can keep up with you guys, because the minute breaking news left, I felt like I was keeping pace with him. I was actually ahead of him on some things, but I guess nobody knew. And I was trying to DM everybody, and I've spoken with everybody. But anyway, I just hope next time that I'm brought up so I can help, because it would have helped the conversation. And we had people like Jared and these other guys these people aren't help for us serious. So I just hope in the future, Diligent and you and everyone else can just, we need to get these guys out and find out who's here to help, because it's the same thing that happens when we went live with Anthony Aguero. I knew it was going to happen too, that people jump up. You guys were going to let them ask a question. I'm like, oh man, so many people.
Can we just stop complaining about the process, man?
Like,
well, I hear you, but you gotta understand, bro. It's been 3 hours. All right, so forgive me. It's a little bit of a self-pity party. I agree with you, but again, 3 hours of frustration. I'll let it go there. But next time, I hope everyone's a little more receptive because I had great information for everybody while it was happening live. So,
Paul, did you happen to tag anyone in the thread stating you had anything?
well, I don't think anybody was checking the purple pill. I literally, like, when you guys were talking about they were looking for the Facebook, I gave you his Facebook page like an hour before anyone was like, oh, apparently it's Facebook. I'm like, dude.
Paul, listen, I have tried to be nice to you today, and for your luck, I am not in a great fucking mood right now. I asked you, you were blowing up my DMs. Everybody is sending us information all at the same time. I tried to be nice to you, and for you to come in here for the last 5 minutes and make it all about you and not the fact that Donald Trump was nearly assassinated again today just shows me where your priorities really lie. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think that's fair, Jen, because my priorities are clearly on Donald Trump winning, or else I wouldn't even be feeling the way I am right now. And sure, I usually don't reflect like this. You're right. But, and it's been about Donald Trump. That's why I'm pissed. I'm trying to help win. It's hard when I'm watching the inefficiency of the information go through. I'm just trying to help the process be better so that next time.
What inefficiency are you talking about? Because we had breaking, we had Roz alerts. Like, we had people in the DMs that we weren't bringing news right to the forefront right away. Like, I don't understand why you're sitting here and making this about you.
It's not about me. It's not about me. I just want it to be, if I can contribute to it so it's a little bit better next time. That's all I'm trying to do.
We heard you out, right? I wanted to, like, because I've been there. I've been like in that position of frustration. We sit there and you want to be able to get the information you have. So I can appreciate that. With that said, I think we got it. And right, just know.
I'll ask one question on the way out. Is there a better way to put things in the purple pill so that it's a little bit more apparent to the people that are speaking at the top?
Tag the host and co-host.
All right, I'll have to do that next time then.
Yeah, you should try it.
And also, Paul, I don't control Diligent.
No, I know.
Right? Period. Right? Like, if he brings up Jared, believe me, do you really think I want Jared on the stage? He requested before. He's talking shit in the comments about me not bringing him up. Right?
Yeah, I'm not blaming you,
that
Jen.
Space, and I just feel like I did the best I could possibly do. I really did, Paul.
You did. I'm not criticizing you like that. Again, my spirit is that if I can be a contributor in the future.
We have not talked about like this much at all today, and so like. Right, as fascinating as hearing about like the back end of the last spaces, like I did pop in for an entirely different discussion. I tried to make sure we heard you out, Paul. I can understand your frustration, and right, like keep at
right
it.
on. And we need to help Diligent because I actually went into that space because I wanted to talk to Diligent.
That was the cue to like, I'm done talking about it. So that we can get
right. But I'm talking about the Haitian pets thing.
I'm gonna drop you now because now I'm kind of fed up with it. All right, so I am trying hard not to have another heart attack. Like during the first one, I damn near had a heart attack. Like I've never had my blood pressure go up that way, and I'm trying to remain calm, but I am struggling. And the thing for me about all of this is we could directly tie this to a total lack of accountability and investigation in the first assassination attempt, number one. And number two, this feels so much like a psyop to me, it hurts. And I see a couple different like potential angles there. Number one, all of this Ukraine shit feels so much like Oswald, but we know Oswald was just a patsy. And so is this real? Is this a distraction from the first shooting? Right? They give us more to go on. We actually get to dive through the social media, right? It gives us the same feeling without needing to dig into what was more obviously what seemed like a inside job with the Secret Service. I kind of get that feeling, right? The none of this adds up at all. I mean, on its face, the fact that this guy was running around Ukraine with Malcolm Nance and the rest of these like wannabe warriors, and then comes over here. I haven't heard people saying it. I've been trying to push it, but like the messaging of he received training in Ukraine. He received training in Ukraine, like military style training in Ukraine. And that needs to be thoroughly looked into, but it won't. But it won't. Because both of our sides are on team fund the fucking wars forever. And I'm fed up with this shit, man. I was thinking earlier, so I'm from rural Nevada, and you guys may have heard of a place there called Area 51, right? And if you go anywhere fucking near like their barrier, their border, you are immediately like approached, and the black SUVs roll up. It is not hard to create a goddamn barrier around a fucking golf course for President Trump. And so the question has to become at this point, like, you don't want to fucking protect him at best, and you're complicit in all of these different plots at most likely. And the whole like almost nod to Oswald on this thing just feels like it's supposed to conjure up like the feelings of the JFK shooting, right? As we have all of this RFK momentum, right? It almost feels like when they pulled the fire alarm midway through RFK's presidential campaign launch speech. Like almost a sense of it being a fucking warning. And it's maybe the most frustrating part for me is it feels like I'm fucking helpless to do a goddamn thing about this happening again. Right? Like I can get on the biggest soapbox I can get on. I can continue to hammer it. I can call people out, and yet nothing fucking happens. Right? That it's still the same people. It's still the same like failures. And right, shout out to the Secret Service agent who spotted it. But that is the last line of defense. And there's got to be protocols that prevent anybody from ever getting into the fucking shrubs at a golf. And where did he get the information that Trump would be golfing today? And how long was he in the bushes? Was there a getaway driver? None of these questions were asked by the fucking media in the fucking press conference, right? It was all just like, oh, congratulations. How does it feel saving the president? Shut the fuck up, right? Oh, okay. I swore I was going to keep my blood pressure down. I'm struggling. Whiskey, go ahead. Get in here, bro.
Yeah, so, you know, I agree with you, Dustin, man. I was thinking about that myself. Does he have like a comms leak somewhere? Like, how did the guy know he was going to be at the golf course on that day? You know, how long was he there? You know, Jen, and Dustin, I might have said this to you too, but in the other space, I did some digging and I actually found, and Millie, actually, I think I heard you say something about like you found some articles with him in like Ukraine too. We might have found the same ones, but I put him in, I sent him to you, Jen, and Dustin, I do believe I might have sent them to you. I got to double check, but yeah, this dude's like really heavy into Ukraine, and he's so heavy into it that like he's being written about in news articles over there. And I even found one that the Chinese news network even wrote wrote an article about him. Those links are in that tweet that I sent you, Jen. But you know, I was in the space earlier with Diligent and on all you guys, and you know, I heard, I don't know who brought it up about, you know, Trump needs to like not do the rallies and he needs to like kind of lay low. And, you know, I kind of agree with that. And I'll tell you why, because we don't have a candidate like him that can replace him if something does happen to him. You know, I mean, it's going to probably default to fucking Kamala, however the fuck you say her name. And the thing is like, you know, I saw the tweet earlier on Truth Social. He did 0 and 2, which is awesome, right? You know, talking shit. You know, it's like, hey, you guys tried to shoot me twice, you fucking failed. But we all heard the saying, the third time's the charm. And you know, if the first shooting that happened didn't prove that Secret Service, law enforcement, and all those other people that were involved are like inadequate at doing their job. And then this happens again, not even a few months later. I mean, who the fuck knows what's going to happen, right before, election time. And I mean, I really do. I personally think, I understand that the man's running for president. He's got a life to live, but he's no use to the country if he gets shot in the fucking face. And who was the guy that was up here before? Paul, or I think it was Paul, that said that the guy had a weapon, he had an AK, and he was within shooting range. I mean, the first shooter, he got fucking close. The second shooter, I don't know if this is the first time I heard him, about Alex Jones saying that, the shooter shot first and he was engaged by Secret Service, or the Secret Service spotted him first and shot before they engaged. I didn't hear anything about that. But this is really, really, really close. And, I'm not saying the left, that these crazy people, I've seen a lot of people say that the left can't aim and, they suck at shooting, but, there's going to be a time, and I hope it doesn't happen, that someone's going to get fucking bold and this dude or woman can shoot. And if they're not protecting this man like they should be, they're going to be successful. And like I was saying, I think the dude just needs to like kind of chill. He needs to lay low. He needs to he needs to minimize his footprint. Like all these outdoor rallies and stuff, I'd say no go. The indoor ones, yeah, do it if because it's less ground to cover. But yeah, that's really what I got. So thanks.
See, I struggle. I go back and forth on that, Whiskey. Like, on one side, I love Trump's bravery and like what that means, and like what that visual of him just fearlessly continuing to go out. And at the same time, there's no one to fill those shoes. There's no one else even, right, like ready to go and ready to step in and do what needs to be done. And so we've got to protect him at all costs. And the violent nature of these motherfuckers, which they have projected on us forever, right? And that's the other part that's like really frustrating to me, which is like all the shit that they have accused us of being. We have shown so much fucking restraint to these people over and over and over and over again. And they're the ones trying to like kill us. They're the ones.
And Dustin, another thing too, man, this guy had to have been on a radar, like whether it be the Secret Service radar or the FBI radar, because if he's got like that much of a footprint in Ukraine that other countries are even doing news articles on the guy, and he was able to get an AK and get it within 300 yards of the more than likely the future president while he's playing golf. I mean, that's a fucking problem, man.
And let's just swap out Ukraine for Afghanistan or Iraq and say that this person who tried to assassinate the president had gone and signed up for military duty as a civilian in a foreign conflict. What would we say about that? We would say, oh, who did you meet with, right? The investigation would necessarily need to dive into like what you were doing there, who you received training from, did you receive orders? And when I see that fat fucking cunt, Vindman's wife or whatever the fuck they are, right? The little Ukrainian fat fuck insurrectionist fucking treasonous fucks, which is the nicest way I can describe them, right? When I see like, oh, all the ears are fine, move on, nothing to see here, like you do it. But that feels like the psyop to me. So I've been on this kick where I'm trying to like recognize when all of a sudden I'm like, it was too neatly put together and too quick to like go down that rabbit hole for, right? Like, oh, he's in Ukraine. Is this designed to either like further clamp down? Is it my gut tells me that they had to give us an assassin to go investigate, to like quell our desire to figure out who the fuck is doing this shit. And maybe that's it. I don't know. And here's the fucked up thing, man. We're not gonna find out again, right? Like what drives me fucking nuts is that 2 months ago we had an assassination attempt on a one of the two presidential candidates and the former fucking president, and we still don't fucking know anything for real. And we're being stonewalled by Mayorkas and that fucking Cheeto bitch, who was heading up the Secret Service at the time. No one, it's just a lone wolf who managed to get on a fucking person. I don't even know that that's the motherfucker that like shot. And I don't know if the bullets came from that. I have zero fucking I have nothing that I feel is concrete to the point that I would feel comfortable pointing at and being like, this is definitely what went down in fucking Pennsylvania. And we're not going to get that again. And fuck these fucking reporters. Like you have this press conference and you don't ask any of the like most obvious follow-up questions about the getaway car, about how he got in there, about like whether or not he was like, how long, when did he first like jump the fence? Was he there for a day? Like, was he camping in the fucking rough? None of it. None of it. And again, we got like, how good was it to feel like that you saved the life of the president? We have a desperate information problem on this stuff. And my biggest fear maybe is that we're going to get desensitized to assassination attempts on Donald fucking Trump. Can you fucking imagine? It's fucking insane. Let's get Chief Trumpster up here. He's also like fucking breaking through a bunch of stuff. Doing great fucking work down there, Chief. All right, we'll get Chief Trumpster up here in just a second, you guys. In the meantime, I don't know who is next. Thomas, I think maybe you.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I think that something that I've been very focused on after really going back to really J6, I guess, is that we have three massive problems right now, or really four. We have four massive problems in the country. And it kind of goes back to the Crossfire Hurricane stuff. But ultimately, a lack of true faith and allegiance is. If Baghdad's still on here, I wanted to say something really quick. If Baghdad's still on here, but he said they're kind of extreme down in the South, right? I consider myself a constitutional extremist. I'm willing to die for my Constitution. I'm a veteran with an oath. I consider myself a constitutional extremist. That means the Constitution is the law of the land, and we've got to be willing to die for it. But I did a bunch of research, just like I would write an intelligence report on a foreign country that was going through problems like we're going through. And I came to really three critical realizations. The first one is that there's a lack of true faith and allegiance to the U.S. Constitution within our government, and it's been tolerated. And that's the Crossfire Hurricane, the counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign, et cetera. That lack of true faith and allegiance to the Constitution that is now known to, over half of the American people causes those of us who love the Constitution to become more extreme to protect the Constitution. The second realization I had is that we don't have a gun violence problem in the United States. We have a mental health crisis. But the left has weaponized the mass shootings that are 99 times out of 100. They're literally a person suffering from a mental health crisis that just wants to be somebody and is otherwise would be completely unknown in human civilization. They take their grievances out on the people around them. So we don't have a mental health, or we don't have a gun violence problem in the country. We have a mental health crisis, but because of the weaponization of those things politically to take away the Second Amendment or to damage the Second Amendment, people that are fearful of protecting the Constitution, what that causes is them to become even that much more appearing to be extreme, because they're holding on to their guns because they know that ultimately there's lack of true faith and allegiance to the Constitution and the government, and therefore we better hold on to our guns because we never know when the next fascist dictator is going to rise up. The only thing keeping us safe right now, I believe, is our Second Amendment. And then the third realization I had is the lack of government transparency within the government, which is what some of the speakers were just talking about. The lack of transparency. And this has been admitted, by the way, this has been admitted by the DNI, by the Director of National Intelligence, it's been admitted by the Director of FBI, and it's been admitted by the DHS Director, that a lack of government transparency, they call it overclassification, but it's actually a lack of government transparency, is leading to the conspiracy theories, and I believe leading to what the speaker was just talking about a second ago, and that is a lack of faith in their government, that they don't trust anything their government says. And so if you have a known lack of true faith and allegiance to the Constitution, threats to the Constitution with regard to the Second Amendment, and then you have the third thing, a lack of transparency leading to the conspiracy theories, you end up with this virulent cultural, literally, we have to be on guard to prevent a potential civil war in the country, right? We have to be on guard for it because of the simple fact that these three facts, these three issues we're dealing with are exacerbating the problem. And then the fourth thing that I think all of us are aware of to one degree or another is the fourth thing is the social media environment, that ultimately what rises to the top in the social media is the most extreme rhetoric on the left or the most extreme rhetoric on the right. And what that does is that amps up the grievances throughout the society. And what that is causing is essentially what that's causing is that's fueling the grievances within the country. And so the reason I say all that is based on what was just being said a few minutes ago. We clearly have a lot of people in our country who have lost faith in their government. They don't trust what the government is saying. And at some point, if we don't come back from this, then we run into the risk of having another schism in the country. And like I was saying before, we have to be like actively, conscientiously, constantly on guard to prevent that, because ultimately the horror that would ensue, and as a military planner, the real problem with, say, a civil war is that the left would likely invite their allies to come into the country as peacekeepers. So you could potentially have the left inviting the Chinese to come into the country to protect them. And so then you've expanded the problem into the left potentially inviting their communist allies, the Russians, the Iranians, the Chinese, and the North Koreans to come in and protect them in a really, really terrifyingly ugly civil war. And that's why we have to be so much on guard for it.
So Thomas, I want to touch on a couple things you said there, and then I want to kick it to Chief because he's doing the fucking Lord's work. Number one, you got to be a goddamn fool to trust anything from this fucking government. And it's not our fault for pointing it out. It's their fault for being a bunch of corrupt fucking scumbags who are on the take from everybody who will throw a fucking nickel their way. And right, it's got to start with that. And the problem with that, though, is we're at this broken position where all of us were trained that when you have a grievance, you work through the government systems in order to fix it. Except it doesn't fucking work, right? Like the system has rotted to the point that we're no longer the constituents in any way. The other thing I'll point out, and a lot of great points there. The other thing I'll point out, we have not been allowed to study any causation between SSRIs and other psychotic or antipsychotic medications and these fucking shooters in order to protect pharma's cash cow. And I'm sure that's something, by the way, that RFK is aware of and would take care of, right? So that at least we could open up and have a real fucking study if there is a correlation between, I don't know, hyping up women with a bunch of fucking testosterone or putting people on a bunch of SSRIs, and whether or not that causes them to break to the point of psychosis that they start to do this crazy shit. And again, it's just another area where what needs to happen is being blocked because our government does not answer to us, does not see us as their constituents. They see that the big special interests and the money that fund them are the special interests. And almost all of it can tie back to that. And so until we're ready to like I've reached this point where I've honestly blackpilled on whether or not we're ever going to fix the US government from the inside. And that basically we have to starve it out and create our own fucking systems, like at the local level. And like there is no way out. It's gotten too far to get out of it without some ugliness. And I fucking hate that, because I'm with you. There's no worse scenario, in my opinion, than going to war with my fellow Americans. But at the same level, I don't see them ever look at what happens when Donald Trump has threatened their power. They're more than happy to resort to violence. Anyway, let's get Chief in. Go ahead, Chief.
I agree. I agree with you completely that, especially with regard to the mass shootings and stuff. One of the things I say, and I wish we would hear more of it, is what the left does is something that went on even going back all the way to the Middle Ages. When innocent people are killed by anybody, the family would drape themselves in the ashes or in the blood of the victim, and then they would run around in the street screaming to bring attention to a problem. That's what the left does with every time we have one of these mass shootings. And we've got to take away, we essentially have to confront the radical leftist narrative that is focused, because here's really what their goal is. Their goal is, and I can prove this in writing from the Department of Justice and the FBI, they want to strip us of our free speech. They want to strip us of our freedom of assembly. They want to strip us, and they're doing that through intimidation. That's what all these raids are about with regard to the J6 people. It's all about intimidating people into silence to rob them of their free speech. The second thing the left, the really left wants to do is disarm America, because that's the only thing keeping them in check. It's the only thing that protects us from the fascists. I believe, and I do believe that Kyle Rittenhouse probably did more for the country by winning that case than almost anybody else, because he basically made it clear that when we are protecting ourselves, we have a right to protect ourselves. The Second Amendment is not about guns. The Second Amendment is about the human right to protect yourself from anyone, including your own government, that comes after you violently. So what you were saying, I agree with, but as long as we have the Second Amendment, we can prevent a civil war, because they know they can't win it. But the minute we lose that, it's over.
All right, so what I would be happy to like debate this a little more, because I don't believe that they're using bullets, right? They're already at war with us, and they're not using bullets, they're using poison. But the little bitches that they are, that's their weapon of choice. And it's hugely problematic, because I don't know that we're equipped or understanding what that fight looks like, which is why I'm like pretty excited, like why I brought up that we're not even allowed to study the poisons that they're feeding people. But we have a shit ton of hands. Chief, you did the Lord's work breaking a bunch of stuff very early. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I just want to give a couple of like very interesting types of things I found out so far about the shooter. The guy was obviously influenced by the Democrats and the left, and by calling Trump a fascist, tyrant, dictator, enemy of democracy. those buzzwords that the left, MSNBC, and every other person throws out there all the time. This shooter heard those, made a tweet talking about how Trump's the enemy of democracy, and then followed through with that action and tried to kill the president. That is the power or the impact the left has on these nut jobs. They say Trump's a bad, evil person. Then someone goes out and tries to assassinate Trump. But if you look at the actual guy who, the shooter, and his background, it is very bizarre. I broke a couple of videos of this guy talking about Ukraine and advocating for Ukraine, talking about him being in direct contact with hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers and foreign soldiers. And there's an article in 2023 where he says that he was meeting up with the Ukrainian defense and had a receipt for that in a separate post of a letter from the Ukrainian defense. It's very strange, the whole background of this guy. It's bizarre. And to make it up very strange even too, he's following some ex-CIA privated account and a couple of other Ukrainian projects. And also he's listed on a Taiwan website as a lead coordinator. And I archived all of that as well. The guy's background is very bizarre. I have no idea where it came out of. It's just so bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. It really looks like just some like MK Ultra asset weirdo type of thing. It just came out of nowhere. He's talking about, oh, Ukraine's great, die for Ukraine. Taiwan's awesome. He's talking about how Trump's enemy of democracy and fascist and dictator. It's very bizarre. There's so many questions to have, and unfortunately, given the track record of the FBI, we're not going to have an answer to those questions. But in terms of the motive, it's very simple as to what the guy's motive was, because he made a tweet about it, and I'll put it up. I'll say it right here. He said he actually one of his more recent tweets, so he tagged POTUS and said that the campaign of POTUS should be called KADAF, Keep America Democratic and Free. Trump's should be MASA, Make America a Slave Again, Master. Democracy is on the ballot, and we cannot lose. We cannot afford to fail. The world is counting on us to show the way. And by that, he means to assassinate Trump, which he tried to do. And thankfully, he failed. And I hope that we get answers, which probably is not going to ever happen. Regardless, this guy was clearly influenced by MSNBC, by everybody saying that Trump's a dictator, a tyrant, enemy of democracy. Those words, those buzzwords that people throw around, the people on the left are listening to this, the lunatics are hearing it, and they're trying to act on those crazy and incorrect smears on Trump. So the left makes these smear campaigns. MSNBC runs hit pieces. 60 Minutes has a new segment calling Trump an enemy of democracy 2 hours after the shooting. You have to understand that this is a intended effort to make crazy people out there make horrific actions against Trump and people he loves. It's horrific, it's sad, but this is America, this is the state of our country, and it's shameful that the media continues to egg it on. But they don't care. They care about clicks and views. So very strange and
Chief,
sad.
I managed to go through his entire Twitter. I haven't looked through Facebook. I saw a couple of the articles and read through those. And bizarre is exactly the right word, because it felt like to me that I was looking at the cartoon, that NPC cartoon, whatever the like I'm for the current thing. You know what I'm saying? Like where where the chip is being swapped in and out. When I went through his fucking Twitter, he is literally that fucking person. Like, the media is talking about Black Lives Matter. But what was weird is there was nothing else. So what seemed to be completely lacking from his profile was any like retweet of news media or influencers. It seemed to be lacking, right? The things that you would expect from somebody who is that much NPC, like following the mainstream media. And as you were talking, right, because I feel like the PSYOP, my fucking PSYOP alarm bells are going fucking buck wild here, right?
Yeah.
Is this a threat, like free speech threat, right? That allows us to like rally around exactly the message of like, hey, you can't say things that are hyperbolic about Trump or Biden or anybody. So we have to crack down on what people are saying on social media. You get any sense of that at all? Because it just seems so bizarre that there was that trail, but nothing else but the trail. It was like, do not go down any other side tangents. Don't like, we want the message specifically on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, from there's people who are crazy, go down rabbit holes and conspiracy theories, whatever. And that's the thing. With this guy though, he wasn't going down some crazy, his whole view about Trump was derived from the mainstream. It wasn't like a far out idea to call Trump an enemy of democracy. Politicians say it every single day. The media says it every single day. Our celebrities, they say it every single day. Everybody's saying Trump's enemy of democracy over and over and over again. If we're a conspiracy theory, we'd have some like offshoot website with like 10 viewers or 10 people who watch that or click a link and then see Trump say a threat to democracy and they go through something. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a mainstream belief in the left that Trump is some evil, bad person. And when people hear this and they say, oh, what can be done about this evil, bad person? Crazy people lash on. They say, oh, we have to go in and get rid of him, which is what's been going on twice so far. And despite this, by the way, despite the first attempt on his life, they still had a guy get within, I believe, 500 or so, I think, feet or yards, some like very close distance to Trump in a golf hole, snuck past security, had some rank material designed to be like bulletproof vest or whatever, and try to take a shot at President Trump. Right? I think there is an angle people are trying to go and tone down rhetoric and try to make something like that. But the reality is, this is a mainstream belief from the left. It's not conspiracy theory from the left. They push this stuff like every single day as if this is what they do every single day. It doesn't make any sense.
We heard from Tulsi Gabbard last night, and I thought it really emphasized the point, which is when she came out and met with Trump, not when she endorsed him, just when she took a meeting, that a bunch of the people on the left attacked her for quote unquote humanizing Donald Trump. Like, he's not human. We've worked to create a monster. How dare you humanize this beast? And so there definitely is an element of that. The whole going to Ukraine thing, running around with Malcolm Nance thing. I mean, what the fuck is that, man? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, and I'll say this real quick. Like, that's the part where I have psyop alarms going off. You have a guy who's, Ukraine, pro-Ukraine all the time. Then all of a sudden you have him in past videos that surfaced, talking about how he coordinates with people in foreign soldiers. He's with the Taiwan Project, where it literally advocates for people to be sent over to Taiwan to defend their freedom. It's really just something that, like, if you had a federal government wish list, defend Ukraine, defend Taiwan, enemy democracy, those are the top three things on the checklist. And it really is setting off all the red alarms, the psyop alarms in my head, because I'm hearing this, I'm thinking, this guy comes out of nowhere, talks about, Ukraine all day. He wants to fund Ukraine, send people to die for Ukraine. He's involved with Taiwan in some way. He's meeting with people in Ukraine. He has contacts in Ukraine. He's been doing this for years. Not like some guy who started this up like a week ago. He's done this for years and years on end. So it is very bizarre. I don't really know the guy's connection, the whole connections or whatever. All I know is that red alarms are going off as psyop stuff because of his connections to Taiwan, Ukraine, his name of democracy talking points, and unfortunately, we may never get the answers. And I really do hope that we can have a transparent investigation from this with DeSantis, who said he would investigate it separately from the FBI, which is fantastic news. But I don't know how much we're gonna get out of the guy. How very impeccable the FBI is these days, right? So I don't know how much we'll get from this guy.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to see some stuff about who the FBI Florida field director is, and he's a shitbag, right? Like another anti-Trump shitbag, another law enforcement agency. And there's so much here, because to be honest, to really investigate this, you need to send people to fucking Ukraine to figure out who this guy was talking to and meeting with. Like, he got military training in an active combat zone and then came back and tried to kill our fucking dude. Like, right there a real investigation would involve digging in Ukraine, but that's going to be spun as like, oh my God, you're Russian propaganda. What right? We are in a really effed up spot because here's what's troubling. Because I'm with you, Chief. We're not going to get answers. That's going to be 2 assassination attempts in a row we don't get answers for. So what's to stop number 3 or number 5 or number 47 until they fucking get it, right? And until there's some real fucking accountability and we stop accepting the fucking lone wolf shooter bullshit that they tried to feed us in the first 5 fucking minutes, then there will be attempt after attempt after attempt.
Yeah,
and that
sorry,
may be the most terrifying thing of all.
I'm
Anyway, you guys, repost the space. Welcome. I will go as long as I feel like I'm not in danger of having a heart attack like during the last assassination attempt, where I'm so effing angry at everything. And part of it is a frustration of feeling helpless to do anything, which is we can dig, we can talk, but ultimately there isn't a shit ton we can do, like until we have some fucking real subpoena and other power to do anything about this. Anyway, I'll stop bogarting. I have no idea. Trash, we'll go to you since you're basically always a co-host in any space we're in.
Well, no, like, if people pigeonhole this as like some like leftist goofball attempt to take Donald Trump out, I think you're shortchanging yourself. There's an account that I follow on Twitter called Lafayette Lee. I think he has generally good takes, typically. But I want to read something to you. Jen, you will probably identify with this a bit, but listen to this. Former FBI agent on CBS implying that the shooter is an accelerationist and comparing the assassination attempt to Christchurch. What? And he didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Where I'm pretty sure over like the last year and a half that I've been talking about accelerationists and how they value mass casualty event people. And it's not confusing to me that he had no political ideology. It was simply the destruction of the West and was groomed in these Telegram groups and Terragram groups of these accelerationists to take a shot at Donald Trump. It's not the last time that we're going to experience this, by the way. But I find it interesting that CBS, of all people, CBS, mainstream media, is talking about accelerationists now. And so, like, I was starting to take a victory lap on that. I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe CBS is talking about accelerationists. And then Brandon Strzok in my space that I had before I came over here made me realize very quickly, yep, they are using the accelerationist narrative to discount anybody on the Trump supporting side. And they're going to tie all domestic terrorism to accelerationism, as you've accurately pointed out, but they're going to use it to attack Trump with. And then these goofballs, they want you to believe that this is some like kind of like leftist activist group that wanted to take out Trump, when the reality was these are neo-Nazi, pedophilic, satanic networks that are on the right. And therefore, Donald Trump represents these people. And so, like, Donald Trump is reaping what he's sowing. I think that's what CBS is actually trying to do here. And they're trying to twist this into this accelerationist narrative that we've been talking about for the year. Like, if anybody has followed me at all or gone to my spaces like the last year and a half, you know that Beck and I have been talking about and yelling about and screaming about accelerationism. Now CBS is going to glom onto it, and they're going to attribute it to extremists on the right. These fascist neo-Nazi groups on the right have lost the plot and lost their minds, and they feel like they need to take Donald Trump out. It's not the left, it's not Democrats, it's not the establishment, it's not the uniparty. I think this is the narrative they're trying to craft and create. And it's sad to me because, like, a lot of the mass casualty events can be attributed to accelerationists, and they have no ideology. But apparently they're going to attach us to it. Dude, like, Dustin, like, I'm so fucking black-pilled right now, you have no idea. And I am not a black-pilled person.
So the thing that stands out to me, Trash, right? That maybe most of certain. We see you guys in the queue, by the way. We're gonna try to go like pretty up and down. So like raise your hand if you've got something to say. If not, we're gonna drop you down. Just re-request. We'll keep cycling because like I think it's important that people have the opportunity to vent in these things. But Trash, when I looked, and I didn't do a deep dive, but I went all the way back to like his first Twitter post, and I read most of the articles about this motherfucker. It seemed unnatural from the get-go, which is when I look at the post, number one of the things that jumps out is this insane, right? He's one of those insane people on the internet who's like, hey, Kim Jong-un, reach out to me, bro. I'd love to like have you come party in Hawaii. Yeah. Like, dude, you with your fucking 8 followers are not fucking like world leaders or not. So like, there's illusions of grandeur and like clear signs of mental illness from like get go, and the like need for a hero quest. Now I'm saying that right?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The need to feel like you are making some kind of legacy style impact on the fucking world. But the problem I have when I look through it is it was missing everything else that you would expect to see.
Correct.
Like we were supposed, like it was planted there for us to like go down and talk, right? Like narrowly focused on like and it was almost, I guess the word I would use, like the way I would describe it is ham-handed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your first day of PSYOP school, huh?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Dude, you gotta wrap it up in a little, like, right? You gotta make it a little that. This was like fucking first grader attempt level of just like, oh, look at all these, like, you're supposed to serious. And so I'm feeling just very suspicious of fucking all of it, man. Like, and of course we are, because we never get fucking answers on anything, right?
Yes. No, like everything you're saying is correct. That's what I'm saying. Like they are trying to attribute like what's actually going on and like try to wrap it up in a pretty bow saying like, oh no, like these are the internet crazies, like accelerationism. Like, yeah, it's a real thing, but like they're all internet crazies. Like it makes no sense. They have no political ideology. They just want to attack Trump, or they want to attack Harris, or they want to attack Waltz, and like all these things make no sense. Like, so of course, like it's all in this like pretty wrapped bow. So we don't need to talk about it anymore. That's the reason that CBS is even reporting it to begin with on this topic. They're trying to like encompass it and wrap it all up into a bow. And they're trying to convince you that like, no, like these are just like the crazy people. These are the outliers. Like, of course, the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump within 2 months is completely random. It's completely normal. Like he was just like a silly person who is existing on these internet forums and like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No. He probably was part of like of that accelerationist network. And he was also probably not a outlier. He was probably a symptom of the broader disgusting sick machine that the government and the intel communities and the social media companies would have you believe. No, it's actually probably more serious than that. And then also, like, you can't wrap it up into a pretty bow and bury it because it's some like right-wing conspiracy. That's what they're trying to do here. The
only thing I'll say to that, Trash, is to right. I see that's how they're trying to spin. But this dude is not like, his fucking digital footprint is not all that different than Malcolm Nance.
No.
Right?
No,
like,
it's not.
To be honest, if you went and like looked and lined like Malcolm Nance's dipshit fucking retard tweets up next to fucking assassin dipshit tweets, like you would find a like congruency there that would be disturbing. And that's just on like, again, like my quick like read through all the way around. It's I feel like this guy is the product, and
yes,
he is the I'm for whatever the current thing on like fucking mental illness steroids.
Yes, but like Dustin, like to your point, like right to your point, let's remember the MSNBC bit when Malcolm Nance was over in Ukraine and he was like, wait, they come in twos. Wait, let me check on my watch. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? You hear that? No, like it's all bullshit. Like it's all nonsense. And like it's the same. Like people think that like this is some kind of like domestic power. This is some kind of like domestic problem. No, this is NATO experiencing the fallout of Brexit, the fallout of Italy and Hungary and many other countries in Europe actually like not participating in the global dominance that is our State Department and NATO and the UN and EU. This is a greater problem where they feel like we have to have the military industrial complex on our side, and we need to have like these global wars, and we need to have our global influence, and we need to take out anybody that is a threat to that. And so like we'll weaponize and like spin up a bunch of these blue-haired goofballs or like these blonde-haired goofballs, fucking vegan retards. That was the guy that hopped the fence in the golf course down in Florida today. And we want to attribute that to domestic policy. No, this is global policy. Mike Benz was on Liz Wheeler's show like 2 nights ago talking about this specifically. I've talked about this specifically. I've talked about it for a year and a half. And Mike Benz was talking about it on Liz Wheeler's show like a day and a half ago. The same people who created color revolutions in the Ukraine, that created a vassal state that is Ukraine, that was a front porch barrier to Russia, who was viewed as a confrontational entity, as not being part of NATO, never being allowed to join NATO, that was a opposing force that we then need to crush any kind of populistic movement inside the American public, the same way that they tried to crush Brexit, the same way that they tried to crush Bolsonaro down in Brazil, the same way that they tried to crush any populist movement in any other kind of European country. It has nothing to do with U.S. policy. It has everything to do with global policy and global energy policy and global dominance. It has everything to do with what the NATO and UN wants to represent. And so they spin up these fucking retards. They spin up these fucking idiots. They spin these people up in Telegram. And then they go arrest the CEO of fucking Telegram, Pavel Durov, because he wasn't participating with global governments, allowing them to install toolkits that they can observe and censor speech inside those encrypted communications inside Telegram. That's why they arrested the motherfucker in France. Because they cannot have Elon Musk of the world. They cannot have Pavel Durovs of the world. They cannot have trash discourses of the world. They can't have Dustin Stockton and Jen Lawrence of the world and Chad Caton and Kevin Smith and everybody else up on the space. They can't have us talking about this truth. They can't have that because it is a actual threat to the global liberal economic order that they built up since World War II. And this is a downstream, downspout symptom, and we have to get these retarded, insane goofballs weaponized through social media companies to go after and carry an AK-47 into Donald Trump's fucking golf course and be one hole ahead and be 300 to 400 yards away from making the proper shot, and then getting shot at by Secret Service because you actually have proper protection, and then he runs away and he runs off in his Xterra and he gets pulled over and Martin County sheriffs pull him over. We can't have Donald Trump exercise America First principles because it depends on America and the global system to fund it, to create that war machine, to keep that war machine going. We can't have that. And this dude, this weirdo goofball fucking lunatic that was all for Taiwan and all for subverting our State Department and bringing people over to fight for Ukraine, even though the U.S. had not declared war in Ukraine. So we need to create a conduit for Ukraine, U.S. citizens to fight for Ukraine in that war. The same people to go after Taiwan, the same people to go after Russia, to strike deep inside of Russia. It has everything to do with this globalist order, and these motherfuckers took their second shot and they fucking missed again. So fuck you. We know you're
so trash. All right, listen. So my question is, right, because Raheem and the way you guys are describing it, and we need to get Kevin and Chad in here because everyone has been waiting, right? And there's a long list. But what Raheem is saying is that the guy tweeted out on May 4th, 2024. He had on his Facebook page what appears to be from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. And when you translate it, okay, is this guy straight like CIA? Because like
Yeah,
if we're
probably.
talking about like the State Department and everything else, like wouldn't it make sense with his background, the way he was openly recruiting Afghanis to go fight in Ukraine? Like this seems like this is a straight up CIA agent who was sent in by the CIA to take Trump out. And like Chuck Schumer said, if the agencies want to get you, there's 6 ways to Sunday.
No, I don't think he's an agent. I think he's a contractor. Like you can contract these goofballs, right?
Well, Trash, real, because my point's super quick. This is the kind of like not like the cool fucking CIA that like we like have in the movies. This is like fat Alexander Vindman CIA type fucking plot. You fat fucking retard.
Oh, you mean the same Vindman, the Rachel Vindman, who came out and said, well, his ear was not shot, so like business as usual, like moving on. That same Vindman? No ears were harmed. Carry on with their Sunday afternoon.
She was a fucking bitch. I'm gonna make one point. So hey,
no, you're not, Stephanie. Please wait. Kevin, jump in here.
Sorry, Steph. No, you know what's going on? I was gonna say before they took off his Twitter account, people were looking through it, and what I found odd, what most odd about it, is there was no tweets that were non-political. Like every one of us, if you go through our Twitter accounts, there's like sporadic, like if you go through my tweets, like, you're going to see stuff about the Mets because sometimes I'll just rant about how bad the Mets suck, like I did earlier today. Like on his, or, there'll be like a thing about an actor, or everything was political. And I'm not someone who believes as much as Dustin and Jen on what people would call the conspiracy front, but his Twitter seemed so fake. Like it seemed like a Twitter account you would make if you wanted to convince someone you believed something that you really didn't. And I thought I would provide a little bit of levity in here. I figured I'll play a little game with everyone. I was just in Suleiman's space, and I bet you guys can, on 3. I want everyone to open up your mics and tell me who they blamed for the shooting. Is everybody ready? 1.
The Jews.
Oh.
The Jews.
Zionists.
It was all
Israel. I wanted us all to do it at the same time. It would have been a lot funnier.
No,
I'm so glad I called that fucker a goat fucker that night.
Oh, me too.
I was sitting there. I was talking about how, I was like, oh, maybe don't, compare people to Hitler, and then people won't want to shoot him in the face. And then somebody was like, well, what about AIPAC? And I was like, you just missed the whole sentence.
Jews.
The Jews. So I figured I wanted you all to do it at the same time, but, one of you jumped the gun. What are you going to do? On to the next.
All right, jump in here, Chad.
So I don't really like playing conspiracy time because I don't give a shit if it is a CIA operative. If the government wants you to know, they're going to tell you. If they don't want you to know, you're not going to know. And if we spend our time in conspiracy, we're talking stupid. But I do like the idea how the left is going out there and talking about how very Republican this guy is, which is hilarious because I don't know any Trump people that would be like, yeah, let's go shoot Trump on his golf course. But Simon Adaba, whatever. Actually, the Daily Mail talked to this dude's son, Orrin Roth, son of alleged assassin, tells Daily Mail his dad hates Trump like any respectable person, but insists he's never owned a gun or done anything batshit crazy. No, Orrin Roth, the son of Ryan Wesley Roth, the suspect alleged shooting assassination attempt near Donald Trump Florida golf, expressed disbelief over the accusations. He told Daily Mail, "This was the first I've heard about it, and was surprised by the news, asking why was my father shot or injured." Although Orrin admitted that both he and his father hate Trump, he insists his dad is not a violent person and doubted his father would ever target the former president, noting he didn't believe his father even owned a gun. So,
dude, your dad went to fucking Ukraine. It's in the New York Times. Like, oh, he's never done anything batshit crazy before. That kid is batshit fucking. Lock him up. Lock him up.
Well, actually, Dustin, to that point, I've actually got a tweet from Ryan Ralph. Here it is. This is from July 16th of 2024. Kamala Harris, you and Biden should visit the injured people in the hospital from the Trump rally and attend the funeral of the murdered firemen. Trump will never do anything for them. Show the world what compassion and humanity is all about. And then he put, I guess, his phone number from like San Diego or whatever. But then also, we actually have a tweet from him in 2016 when he was actually like completely pissed off at Trump in 2016. Hang on, let me pull it up. Hang on, hold.
He's also trying to make life wonderful, trying to get a hold of Kim Jong-un in North Korea. This guy is a real special fella.
He's real special, Chad. He's really special. I've archived his entire profile, but like there is a tweet from 2016 once Trump was elected. I'm trying to go back to my space so I can get it. Oh, God damn it. All right, come back to me.
I'll say real quick. There's actually a breaking. So now we have actual footage of the Trump shooter appearing in a propaganda video for a Ukrainian group, AZOV, in 2022. That just broke. I'm not sure if you guys saw that on the timeline, but it's not just a friendly American going, exploring Ukraine and Taiwan. It's also he's appearing in propaganda videos for Azov and doing a bit more bizarre things like that. So, yeah, the guy, it's not just unhinged leftist. It's not that. It's a bit more. And I really think that the sign up alarms, they're like ringing in my head. Azov, Ukraine, Taiwan. It's not normal. It's not. There's something a bit deeper there. And unfortunately, again, the FBI is not going to get to the bottom of it at all. They're not. They have no incentive to get to the bottom of it at all. They'll just say, oh, it's just a leftist that felt bad or a mental illness. And they're not going to get into why he was in Ukraine for and recruiting soldiers, why he was trying to go and coordinate with Ukrainian officials. It's so many questions, and I don't think we're ever going to have the answer to it. But I want to talk about that very quick breaking video that just came out.
Nah, dude, Chief, you're on top of shit, bro. Of course, there's an Azov. Right next there'll be NAFO. Right, let's just throw the furries in there. Fuck it. Like what? Deep breaths. All right, Stephanie, I'm gonna let you go because, it seemed like you were urgent to get something out.
No, I'm not. I'm not urgent. I'm not mad. I'm the one who broke this story, and I don't need credit. I don't need to be acknowledged. But I just feel like, I feel like I was kicked to the side. Everyone discredited me, except Jen. Jen was here. She was here for me. But I just wanted to say, Dustin, Jen, thank you. Everyone, Travis, too, for letting me be here. Thank you. Sorry, my dog's gonna probably bark. It's ridiculous that the cop said, oh, the shooter was in the bushes. We can't look at the bushes because there might be something in there. Chop down the bushes, dumbasses. This is our president, our future president. I'm not trying to be mean, but isn't it incredibly irresponsible that there's letting bushes be here and people with 2 backpacks, a bush pack, blah blah blah, come here. And so that's what I'm gonna say. I love you, Jen. I love you, Dustin. I love you, Trash. I love you, everyone else. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna drop down. This is a great space. This is so awesome. Thank you.
And no, they're not going to chop down those bushes because when you have a $1 billion golf course, they don't want to see the people that are around them. They're going to keep the bushes up so that they don't have to look at the fucking jail across the street. And they're going to keep those bushes there so that the golfers can feel like they deserve the $50,000 they pay. I mean, the $500,000 they pay to be a member. Those bushes are going to be there because they want them there to keep out the non-rich folks that happen to be at Mar-a-Lago. And the idea of being at Mar-a-Lago is you can look around. You really don't see anybody else other than what they want you to see, which is the beauty of Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty commonplace for most golf courses. And at the end of the day, it's up to the Secret Service to understand the lay of the land and make sure that that type of thing can't happen. Bushes have nothing to do with it.
I will say that, Chad. It is not fucking rocket science to hold a goddamn fucking perimeter. right? This is not like the most complicated fucking hold of all fucking, right? Like literally, like back when we had, like when we were fucking Neanderthals, we held fucking perimeters to keep fucking predators from like coming into our fucking caves. Like this is literally like humanity species 101.
Wait, you mean all the way around him?
What? Oh, but there's a bush.
We don't have technology or anything. It's just, well, fuck it, man. You know, it's pretty fun.
Wait, Chad, did you say there's a prison across the street?
The jail's basically across the street on one side of the golf course where the jail is, which is the irony of where this guy was in the bush. I'm still trying to figure out. There's two sections of the golf course that are close enough to a road because the golf course is basically horizontal. If you've ever been to Mar-a-Lago, it's like horizontal instead of lateral to the where you see, where Trump has all of his events and that it's actually lateral instead of horizontal. So there's only a couple of holes, and I think hole 5 is right there. And I can't remember the name of the street, but there is a jail-like thing, county building there, where it's literally across the street. You can see it from the golf course.
So this guy, like what I know about areas around jails, they're pretty, usually the cops are walking around like this guy just rolls up, gets out of his car with his plates and his AR and, hops the fence, which like, that seems weird. All of this doesn't add up.
He didn't hop a fence. He was on the other side of his nest was on the other side of the fence.
So then my question is, Chad, how did he get back to his car?
That's a great question. But at the same time, and I'm
hey, can I chime in? Can I chime in for a second?
I guess you just did. So
no, I mean, like before he finishes his sentence, like maybe not like chime in. Like anyway, Chad, finish it. Like what the fuck?
So what I'm saying, based on security aspect, is that people have a tendency to walk around and not realize what's going on around them. Remember, there was shots happening. There was fire. They said that the firing came from the Secret Service. This guy never got a shot off. Great. But when people are hearing that, how many times have you heard people hear a shooting? They're like, I thought it was firecrackers. They didn't think anything of it, especially coming from Mar-a-Lago. You could have fireworks. You could have them working on the building. Who knows? People have a tendency to walk around with their head up their ass and not really pay attention to what's going on. Luckily, there was the hero of all of this was a witness, saw him come out of the woods and took a picture of his car and his license plate, which the sheriff said that they put into the license plate reader and they got a hit on it on the 95 up to, I can't remember the name of the county. So if people were paying attention, and actually around most jails, there really isn't that many cops out there around a jail, because if it is just a jail, they take them in the Sally Port, they go inside, they call it a day. It's not like there's cops hanging out at the picnic table and shit outside. So it's not, the jail itself is very secure, be it a county jail, but it's not like a prison where you've got turrets and people that are looking all over the place for people to escape. It's not the way it works at jails. And this guy being on the other side of the fence, it was, if you really think about it, how many times you've driven down the highway or a road and you see a car on the side of the road, you may look over at it, but you don't really, somebody's car could have broke down. He could have maybe that's what people thought. He went into the woods, set up his his little nest, and nobody thought anything about it. And then when he came walking out of the woods, I don't think anybody knew that there was a shooting by, a Secret Service officer 200 yards away trying to shoot a guy with a handgun. Everything the way it happens, it's really easy to say how the fuck, but really, if you think about your average day, you probably wouldn't have paid attention any differently than anybody else did. And I'm just being real, especially with the car being on the side of the road. Dude came out of the woods, got in his car, took off. Just like somebody with a broken down car on the side of the road that you drive by at 60 miles an hour. You don't really think much of it.
For sure. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate you. All right, let's go to Lindsay. Or I'm sorry, wait, Lindsay. Hold on. Magga, go ahead. Or Mag, go ahead.
Hey guys, so I just wanted to chime in. I'm actually looking at Google Earth right now, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt before. It was just when you were talking about that, honestly, there is a little piece of, there's not much road by those holes. So, I don't understand why there wasn't, how are they not patrolling that area? This is not a very big area. I'm looking at both. I'm looking at the picture of hole 5 and hole 6, and literally there's an L shape of road, and like he could have like it looks planned. Honestly, like it was definitely very, very
Well, we're going to
planned.
say everything looks planned. When he falls down the stair at Mar-a-Lago, it's planned. That's what Q said. So really what happened here is that you have to understand that there is an outside perimeter. And even the sheriff himself said when he was president, we would have police all the way around the perimeter. He is not the president, so he is not at the level of security that he should be, that we all would want him at, based on how the Secret Service works. Something that needs to be fixed within the Secret Service, and I think you're going to find that is a huge case when the information that comes out of Pennsylvania. You even saw Senator Blumenthal say the American people are going to be pissed. And this is where the sheriff himself said in today, and actually kind of doxed the Secret Service, saying we only patrol and do what they think is within what the Secret Service tells us to do. He's not the president, so he doesn't have a full, we have to surround this entire area. Could there have been drones? Could there have been pressure plates? Could there have been a lot of things? Yes. But we also don't know that they weren't there, and we don't know what they were looking at. So to say, well, it's an L-shaped road, and why couldn't they just patrol this? The sheriff himself said that at one time when he was the president, we would have. But where he's at now, the Secret Service has dictated that we shouldn't. So is this bad protocol? Is this the Iranians trying to kill him? I don't know. I just don't go down that road until something makes more sense. I will agree with Jen because the Facebook and his Twitter, I mean, with Dustin, just seems very weird. But this dude is obviously very, very weird. I mean, he's batshit crazy. So where we're at with, and I just think it's funny having been in the military and understand how, I understand people can disappear. I understand how things can done. Can you explain to me how the Clintons have killed so many people and they don't have something to do with blue hair and an AK and doing stupid shit? These are not set up people. You're not going to send morons to do a job just so that they can be a fall guy later. If they wanted to take him out and this was a setup by our government or any other government, I assure you they're not going to send this dumb shit.
Well, and to that point, I would like to actually extrapolate further. Like the security protocol was actually good because they were on an advanced team a hole ahead, and they shot at the guy before he even made any shots at the president from 300 to 400 yards away. And he dropped his gun, ran over the hill, ran over the wall, and then got in his Nissan Xterra, his black Nissan Xterra, and it was like stopped by Martin County Sheriff's Department. Like nothing happened to Trump at all. And matter of fact, I'm hearing from inside the campaign that Trump was pissed that he couldn't go back out and golf because he was on a birdie putt on that hole that was ahead of his advance. Like he was pissed, not because like some fucking lunatic jumped the wall and like we're trying to take aim at him. He was pissed because he couldn't make his birdie putt that he was setting himself up for. And so like he's base as fuck. And like this, nothing literally happened and it was foiled a hole ahead. Whether this guy was going to try to set up or not was irrelevant because his protection duty was actually advancing ahead of the hole and took care and averted and thwarted any kind of like actual threat on the president. He was just pissed he couldn't make his birdie putt. And then they caught the guy, Martin County Sheriffs caught the guy like down the road. Like nothing actually happened. We just saw like protection duties in action. And the last thing I'll say is that, yes, I agree with Jen. This dude's been unhinged. And back in, looks like June 11th of 2020, at Real Donald Trump from Ryan Ruth. While you were my choice in 2016, I and the world hoped that the President Trump would be different and better than the candidate. But we all were greatly disappointed. I don't know what that means. Greatly disappointed. And it seems you're getting worse and devolving. You are retarded. I will be glad when you're gone. That was back in 2020, right? So that was a response to 2016. But like this entire like assassination plot was thwarted because they actually had proper security protocols in place. And they caught the guy. No shots were fired. The only shots that were fired were by Secret Service at the guy. Like all of this checks out that like there's a proper security protocol. And the only thing that Donald Trump was pissed about was not Taylor Swift, even though they would like you to believe that. He was pissed because he was making a birdie putt on his hole when he had to go into like the Brinks truck of golf carts that were brought out by the Secret Service to be protected when nothing happened to him at all. So like I think security won on this. I think the protections won on this. I think they actually did their job. And this lunatic goofball probably got through, whatever. Are you going to have Secret Service personnel every 6 feet on every single perimeter? No. Like,
if that's what we got to do, I mean,
sure, yes. I think we should, but like they don't have that.
Okay, but I really think that we need to call for the immediate arrest of Adam Kinzinger. One of his NAFO furries tried to kill Donald Trump, and obviously that means that he's responsible. So I think we need to hold him responsible.
Adam Kinzinger tried to weaponize his furries. That's true. That's true.
And the new narrative is that Putin tried to kill Donald Trump with an AK-47 because that is a Russian
well, it's
rifle.
Russian. It's
and
Russian.
This proves that even though Vladimir Putin endorsed Kamala, he actually wants Trump dead and is scared to death to have him in there, and he is not best friends with Donald Trump. So that's the narrative.
Dude, I was so pissed today, Chad, when that guy was talking, and I was like, fuck you. And he's like, excuse me? I'm like, did I stutter, motherfucker? Like, are you joking me coming up here and telling me, A, that you can't secure the perimeter, and B, that, because he used a Koreshnikov or whatever, that he's automatically Russia and Russia. Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't care who you are.
But wait, I thought Russia was Donald Trump's best friend. How could the guy trying to assassinate Trump be with Russia? That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of stupid on that. I actually ate an entire dinner while I was in the speaker box. I didn't even listen. But this is where things happen, and where Dan Bongino, I give him credit. He's always the 48-72 and let shit play out and figure out what's what. Because, at the end of the day, we have a blue-haired Ukrainian furry NAFO furry trying to make things happen. And he failed, because I'm telling you, having known operators and how this shit works, if somebody was really trying to kill somebody, they're not going to send these retards. It's just what I'm trying to say. What benefit does it do? Right now, this kills Kamala. This hurts Kamala, because the country's like, why do they keep trying to kill this guy? Here we have Donald Trump, 2 assassination attempts, Democrats 0, but we're the extremists.
It was also a Nazi white supremacist, right?
There you go.
Said it was Azov, right? That's who they are. So a Nazi white supremacist just tried to kill Donald Trump, and people are like, I don't know what side I want to win.
Yeah, there's a lady actually chewing me out in one of my threads saying that Trump brought this on himself with these people, and I was like, wait, I thought Trump was the Nazi white supremacist. And she's like, well, this guy voted for him in 2016. I was like, yeah, because all Trump supporters are like, I feel so close to Trump, I want to go assassinate him. It makes no sense. And this is where you're watching the left lose their mind, and why it makes no sense for the left or any other country that thinks that they're going to get Kamala elected by doing this type of thing with these 2 retards that they sent to try to assassinate the president. It's not going to happen. There are a lot of people out there that are very, very skilled in this particular thing, and these 2 weren't it. Especially, everybody knows that the AK-47 is not the smartest weapon to go out and try to use as a sniper rifle. That just goes to more of his stupidity, and how his son just said, I didn't even know my dad owned a gun. He probably thought it was important because he is a Nazi sympathizer, and the AK-47 is what they use in Ukraine, unless they get our weapons given to them with the M4s. But to use the 7.62, not too bright to use as a sniper rifle in any way.
So I want to let Gabriel jump in here. He's been waiting a really long time. So Gabriel, jump in here.
No, thank you. I'm from France, so it's very late.
And Gabriel's not jumping in here, apparently.
No, Josh, you can't hear him. Gabriel, I'll drop you down and bring you right back up.
Okay. Thank you.
My apologies. Sorry. I was like, that's funny.
I thought you just didn't like French people, Trash. That was funny.
Well, no, I like French people. French people hate Americans. Like, I know this. I've been in France. But like, I don't mind French people. They have great cuisine. They eat well.
Oui.
Jen, like, okay, so Dustin, Jen, Chad, Chief Trumpster, maybe some people listening. Guys, guys, it's not political. Like, these fucking retards have now decided to like join up forces with like people in the accelerationist movements to take out Donald Trump because they don't have anything else. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
Okay.
All right.
Gabriel, jump in here.
Oh shit. All right.
Okay. Hello. So I'm Gabriel.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Okay, I have 47. I'm the father of my lovely Mia, 10 years old. And I'm very interested by, listening, sharing what's going on everywhere in the world. And thank you very much to let me speak and hearing all that. I just wanted to ask you a question. Do you think that what's happening there, how it is, you think that it's especially in US or everywhere in the world, especially in Europe?
Everywhere
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
everywhere in the world. It's not just especially U.S. It's coming out of Eastern Europe. A lot of these people that are aligning with like AZOV Battalion, a lot of Eastern Europe, like Putin, whom I hate, apparently, who I've been told that I am like the right hand of Putin. I'm not. Who I don't like Putin or Russia or whatever else. They're also dealing with the same like domestic terrorist type threats. The same people, bro. It's happening all over the world.
I believe exactly. It's what I'm thinking. But first, I really believe that we know nothing in real. Like, for example, that crazy tool that is X is something not using very well. I think today it's like we're not sharing or making something strong. I feel that, I believe that about X. Like, it's exactly all the same words exchanged, and kind of tribe all the same everywhere. Like, we're just united, but not really, because we are not mixing. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. So I think like the Digital Services Agreement, the DSA, that is attacking Elon Musk for free speech on X, is being weaponized by the EU, and very different European governments are trying to like hold on till they don't have like a Brexit moment or like a Lexit moment or an Italolexit moment or a Spexit moment or various different countries. They don't want a populist uprising, right? They don't want free speech to permeate.
Sorry, but I don't believe that, because if that was really the case, like everybody just refused or not be in if we were all from the beginning with the name or real name, and you are more in US than France or all countries, it will be really serious. But now a lot of people are just, it's only bullshit speaking, but you are not on the table with who you are in real. So you just breaking the actions, real actions, just speaking and whatever. You can say what you want to say, and we don't care because you're not in responsibilities of what you're talking about.
So let me be clear about something. Let me be clear. Let me make sure that I understand your position, and you can come back on me on this. Because I don't have my picture and my name, because I'm anonymous on the internet, that I'm not speaking the truth, that I'm only parroting some kind of like narrative. And that like, because I don't have my picture or my name, that I shouldn't be taken seriously. Is that what you're saying?
It's not exactly that, because I believe that this is a trap for me, really, because I just feel it's just an opinion. I'm not saying that it's the truth, okay? Just an opinion, a reflection. I'm just seeing that in life, since I'm born, like be really you is just making you thinking about the words you are just saying, because you're involved about where you are, where you are, what you think.
So you're saying that like any position that I take, I can't be taken seriously because I don't have my face and my name in there.
Not you. No, not you. Okay, it's about the how it works. It depends on the people. I don't know what you are doing with X. I will never say that about you or I'm the guy. It's just an observation about how X is working. When you're saying that Elon Musk is just like, well, the state, I just want to kick him, I really don't believe that. I really believe that. Okay, it's my one more time. It's my opinion. For example, I just sent an MP to Jen to say that maybe there is a reflection about. Okay, today, if someone want to kill another guy, even the president, it's so fucking easy. I really believe that.
So Gabriel, actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because from what I read of your DM, which I don't usually read DMs, guys, so like please don't blow up my DMs. But what you said in the DM was that you couldn't figure out how both shots missed, right? Is that what you were getting at?
It's more than that. It's like I believe that it's very strange because I believe that today more than yesterday, and yesterday it was possible too.
Do you believe in God, Gabriel?
I will never say that. I don't believe today. Okay, but I will never say that someone who
Well, I hope you find him, because if you had faith, you would know how those bullets miss. Because when you have a destiny and you are chosen and you are meant to be in this time, in this place for a reason, and God has you there, that's how those bullets miss.
I respect that, and really I believe that, because life is something we don't manage with it. It's something more than us. I really believe that, and I believe in love, for example. So it's very close to God. Okay, I'm just saying that today I'm not in the divine. It's very personal, but I'm sharing that with you. I've been in US a long time ago, and we have a lot of differences, Europe and US, and it's so important, I think, to share, to try just to think about that, and using X for that. I think it's very important. And I'm sorry, Trash, for it's not for you, man. It's about the identity, just a reflection about that. Because in France, we are sharing same discussions about what we're living, and tried who are not mixing. People are just kicked out when they are not agree with what's going on in the space. I think
so like I get where you're coming from, and I'm not taking offense to it. I was just trying to like quantify it. Like, I've been in France. I was in France in 2022. I was in I was in Charles de Gaulle. I was in Paris. I was in central France. I was in southern France. I've spent like a month in Paris, like in France, like the last 2022. I was there. I was in the small towns. I was in Sancerre, right? If you know Sancerre, I was in central France. Like I was there with these people. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but what I'm saying is, like, I want you to formulate your opinion, but I need you to not take at surface level what's going on if you have not been involved with the broader conversation has occurred over the last 2 or 3 years. Like, I think that your skepticism is healthy. I actually agree with your skepticism. And if I were just coming across my account or myself or my voice in the last 30 seconds, I'd be like, bro, we don't know who you are. Like, we don't even know who you are. You could be a Fed. You could be anybody with a raccoon profile and trash discourse. But like, it's not that. Like, this has been like some time coming. I can't change away to my photo and my name because people prefer the raccoon profile. So I stay with that. It was like I'm a victim of my own branding and marketing. And I understand your skepticism, and I think you're asking the right questions. I think it's healthy of the questions that you're asking. And I've dealt with people within Europe that are asking the same questions. I have a liberal friend of mine that lives in the Netherlands that disagrees with me on everything politically. She disagrees with me on everything. And she's lived in the Netherlands the last 8 or 10 years. And I was like, hey, by the way, Geert Wilders became your prime minister in Netherlands. Like, what do you think about that? She's like, well, I hate him. He's so far right. However, I don't like the immigration policy. I don't like that we're not putting Dutch people first, that we're putting other communities in other countries first. Like, I don't like that. I'm like, welcome to MAGA. And she's like, I don't identify with MAGA. I'm like, well, you fucking do, because you're actually concerned about the Dutch people that you've lived with the last 8 or 9 years, and you're concerned about immigration policy. Whether or not Geert Wilders is far right as you believe or not is irrelevant, because you're talking about the same things that we're talking about here. And so, Gabriel, what I'm saying to you is, I don't pretend to understand the French people, but what I do understand is the is how I was perceived by the French people when they thought I was a MAGA Trump supporting lunatic back in 2022. And they're like, oh, you're actually a good person. Like, I actually want to have an aperitif and a digestif, and I want to have an entire dinner with you, and I want to break bread with you. And I'm like, yeah, like we all agree on these same things. Like, I want you to have a healthy economy and put the French people first. And they're like, yeah, I want that too.
Okay.
Like, I think you're missing the forest for the trees here, bro.
No. Sorry. First, I'm not a representative of France. Okay, I'm not like a French representative.
No, you're not a French. I'm talking to you as if you're the French Republic.
No, I understand. Sorry. Okay, my point is that we are different about culture, about many things, but in what I am observing and what is very interesting for me is that how it is building on X is the same. It's what I'm trying to explain. I'm sorry if I'm not clear about that. But
no, you and I are good. We're good. Like, I'm trying to build a bridge with you, man. I'm trying to build a bridge.
Thank you very much. And other things, for example, you were talking about narrative.
Okay. Listen. As much as I want to educate French people, okay, like parlez-vous français, it's great. Listen, we need to concentrate on the assassination attempt and what is going on there. Like, I really feel bad for you. Macron's an idiot. He's definitely married to a man. You should definitely look into that. But I think we just need to like keep moving around the stage. Love y'all. Sorry. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you very much, Jen. And
I know you said you don't like DMs. I apologize. Before you said that,
no, I like DMs.
Okay.
It's like if people incessively DM me.
I sent you 3 potentially important ones. I don't know if you guys have seen them yet.
I haven't seen them, Dr. Angela. So if you want to put them up on the Jumbotron and then we can go to them.
One's a photo. I don't know how to do that, but I'll get the other ones up there.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Angela. And I'll look at my DMs as soon as I call on somebody else.
I'm going down, Jen.
Okay.
I'm going down. Thank you very much, everybody. See you soon. I hope.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. But okay, really.
And look for Jesus, Gabriel. You'll find him. He's looking for you.
Maybe. Really, thank you very much. You're not the only person around me to saying that to me, but I think I am with Jesus. I think really, because I'm just apply exactly everything about that, and I'm proud of it. So, but it will be, I hope, another exchange, because it's something very interesting for me, really. So have the best life, everybody in your life, with our family and everything. And believe in yourself and don't care about all that fucking shit. Bisous.
Thanks, Gabriel. And if you have any questions, feel free. You can always DM me. I appreciate it. Okay, let's go to Johnny. Johnny, how are you today? Great to have you in one of our spaces. Johnny is the one that's been hosting all of the MAGA Maha spaces. So he's one of our Kennedy peeps.
Hey, we gotta get healthy again. Tell you what, man. You know, I'm actually in West Palm Beach right now, and I was just at the beach earlier today. I drove not too far from where this whole thing went down, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, there's heightened security since the incident in Butler, and so like you can't even like drive the normal way to the beach that I would take sometimes. So, yeah, just wild how this guy was able to get in there. And this whole thing with secret security, not, securing the premises. You would think that, Trump, I'm sure he golfs there like quite often. So I would think that it would be like pretty routine. I mean, gosh, I'm just thankful that, Secret Service was on it and noticed this guy's gun. I'm surprised they would have noticed that though. Aren't you? Like, I mean, wouldn't this guy have been like hiding a little better? You'd think. But, man, again, this guy, he totally does seem to be like radicalized by the media. I'm sure they're gonna tone down their nonsense and they're gonna act accordingly. I'm sure they're gonna realize that. I'm being sarcastic, but yeah, it's wild, the polarization. And dude, when you really look into this guy's just like all about Ukraine. It's just like, man, does this stuff? Somebody made the point, that this guy reeks of being a spook, and I kind of agree with that. And this whole thing, it reminds me of, what I heard Trump say after the incident in Butler. He was on the golf course the next day, and he said, "You know what the difference between me and the shooter is?" and then he sunk his putt. He said, "I don't miss." So I thought that was pretty legendary. And yeah, man, what a legend.
Well, Johnny, to that point, to that point. So like I have an insider story. So like today, like when he was rushed off the green, when he was rushed off because like the advanced team had gotten this guy, Donald Trump was not pissed that somebody tried to like take him out, or, like bring an AK-47 to his golf course and try to take him out. He was pissed because he was on his birdie putt on his hole. And he was pissed off that they would not allow him to go back out and sink his birdie putt. Like Johnny, like that happened today. Like Donald Trump was not pissed that he couldn't, like that somebody tried to take him out. He was pissed because he was about to sink a birdie putt on his hole and he was whisked off because Secret Service took out or shot at this guy and he hopped the fence and like he did all his chase. Johnny, he was pissed that he couldn't go back out and putt for his birdie putt. Like, that's the guy. Like, that's our guy. Like, that's our guy, bro. Like, that's our guy.
I love it. What a legend. Yeah, you know, I came across a Winston Churchill quote today. It kind of reminded me of this, is that it's like, you know, you just got to keep plugging along and stand up. And that's it, man. I guess the 0 for 2 quote
well,
was
Johnny,
safe, but...
Johnny, like, I don't want to cut you off. I'm going to give you the space, but like, let me give you my favorite Winston Churchill post, his favorite quote. And Winston Churchill said, "When you're going through hell, keep going." That's a Winston Churchill quote. And I think it's great. When you're going through hell, keep going. Like, you can't stop. You can't go back. You're going through hell, keep going. That's a great Winston Churchill quote. Like, I love that.
And the devil might not even know you're there.
100%.
It's a great country song too.
Let's fucking go. Let's go.
All right. Hold on, Trash. We do have somebody who is here joining us, Alan. Dustin, do you want to introduce Alan?
Yeah, no, Alan's the man.
Oh, Brazil.
Another person who's just been dealing with this shit in Brazil. Been attacked for journalism, and Alan would love to get an update. Like, right, Bolsonaro went through this. The assassination is part of the communist playbook here, right?
Exactly. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dustin, Jan, and Trash. I love to listen to Trash because he's so balanced and smart, and it's pretty cool. So that's why I came fast to this space. I just would like to in Brazil. Although you guys here on X, me too, because I'm in the United States, I can access X. We have been following all the details. Meanwhile, all the journalists in Brazil, they couldn't follow up this horrible incident that happened today because they cannot access X. Some of them are facing and they dare to use X, but they can be recognized by the Supreme Court, and they can pay a very high daily fine using X. So I never thought that I could see my country into this situation. Like nobody can have information because they cannot access X, for example. I never thought that I could see that through my own eyes. And about assassination attempt, this is really communist playbook. What they are doing against Trump is totally communism. And I was insisting when all these acts ban or before that, because, you know, guys, I'm facing this situation more than 4 years. I stayed 3.5 years without seeing my family. Thank God they are here. But I came first to denounce everything that was happening in Brazil. Some people take me for granted and they understood fast what I was about to say, but some of them were kind of sleeping, even here in the United States, kind of, I don't know, maybe thinking, oh, Alan cursed too much. He smokes during his during his streams, but they really did not get the message. And That's what the communists do. And I was insisting in the fact that in the United States, we call the globalists in Brazil just a different communism, but they're all the same. You know, like some people like to label the globalists as something different than the communists in China or in Russia, but they are all the same. They have received the same information, they have received the same tactics, strategy, and so forth. And what they are doing against us, because I have an American boy right now with 15 days. Um, so I'm part of this country right now, and I love United States, and we are facing a communist invasion in this country, and they are putting their teeth out of their mouth. You know, like when the dog is showing the real face, they are showing their real face right now.
Well, and like so, like Alan, I want to bounce something off you. I see the hands. I know this is not my space to like commandeer, but like I want to bounce something off you for a minute. So like we knew that like Lula like was like connected with a bunch of gangsters in Brazil during the Bolsonaro administration, and then like our State Department here in the U.S. they were like, oh no, we can't have Bolsonaro, we can't have a populist uprising. We need to get Lula out of prison. We need to get him out of prison, and we need to get him into the position of power in Brazil. And then once they did that, they realized like, no, like he's still connected to gangsters, and they're not actually showing any allegiance to our United States State Department, and now we need to get rid of him as well. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do with Brazil? And so they're instead of actually like putting forth another candidate, whether it's Lula or Bolsonaro, they use the Supreme Court and the judiciary and Moraes to actually attack free speech, and they're going to attack and try to rule over the Brazilian populace through the judiciary versus like the Lula, Bolsonaro, like whatever they're doing. They learned very quickly that Lula was not controllable, even though he was like a gangster, whatever. We all know that. Organized crime guy. He was in prison and he got elected, selected, whatever it was. And then Bolsonaro was like the populist uprising candidate. I'm seeing what's going on in Brazil right now is our State Department saying, no, we need to weaponize the judiciary and we need to like put forth somebody forward. So like both Lula and Bolsonaro are both not part of the State Department plan here in the US. Am I off? Am I wrong? Did I miss this completely? Or am I hitting this correctly on spot?
To be honest with you, I don't think the State Department did a mistake. I do believe they supported Lula. They still support Lula. Brazil is a very important economy, but first of all, South Atlantic is very important for the United States defense. So they know they need to get the South Atlantic to be safe, and they still support Lula. They're just pretending right now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I don't have time in enough English to say that fast, and that could be boring. But once I will improve it, I can explain you guys how every operation that we had with the Brazilian FBI, the Operation Car Wash.
Yep.
Most of the companies that have been used for money laundering, they are still operating in the United States, dude.
Yeah.
So even the oil company, the state oil company, a lot of all the companies, the meat company, the Free Boy company that sells meat, they are operating. They are doing money laundering right now in the United States, in Florida.
Yep.
So the State Department knows who is Lula, who is what is Foro de São Paulo, what Foro de São Paulo is. They know everything. They just don't want Bolsonaro because Bolsonaro is close to Donald Trump, period. That's
So
it.
basically, so like, let me unpack this. Is not necessarily on board with our State Department, but also he's more closer representative to what the State Department wants in our country, and that we definitely don't want like the right wing populism under Bolsonaro to rise again at all in like the most integral, financial center of South America to rise again. So they're like, we don't really have Lula in the bag, but we definitely don't want Bolsonaro. Is that essentially what you're saying here?
I would say further than that, because if you read the Communist Party of the United States program, it was written in back 2015, I guess, and it says clearly that they needed to take care and be aware of Nazis, the rise of Nazis.
Yeah.
In Chile, Brazil, and Argentina. That was back 2015.
Yeah,
Chile,
Chile, like to your point, Alan, like Chile, like actually broke apart away from like this like massive monstrosity, and they decided they're like, yep, nope, we're going to self-determine. Chile was actually a problem, right? Like I'm starting to understand exactly what's going on. All right, anyway, Alan, go ahead, please. You're.
Okay, wait, hold on. I love you guys, but I have been going at this for like nearly 10 hours right now. And I want to get through the hands real quick and shut this down. Sorry, Trash. Like, I'm just exhausted, dude. You know how it is. Come on.
No, dude, I totally know. I'm sorry. I just got super excited because like Alan was like actually giving me answers to questions that we probably should all have. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, if you put it like that. Alan, if you'd like to finish up, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't want to like dive down huge rabbit holes.
No. I meant like, no, I'm a nerd and a policy wonk. So like I'm asking questions that I want answers to. It has everything to do with me. Nothing to do with you. I'm the fucking asshole here.
No, yeah, don't worry.
You're good.
Don't worry. Jen, the only one message I'm trying to say is the communism is here. They know everything. They know that you guys are danger for them, because once you give a message to the people, to regular people, you break the bridge between the mainstream media to the regular people, and they want to control everything, and they want to kill all of us. That's it. Period.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's literally like it. It's so spot on. And what you're dealing with in Brazil is what we're dealing with here. Yet they wanted to keep us all separate and not realize that, like, oh shit, if we all came together, we could actually stop all this. So, Alan, I'd love to have a longer space. Now I feel like a jerk. Sorry, guys.
No, Jen, I'm the total asshole. Like, this is my fault. Like, no. Like, listen, I took us into like a policy nerd, policy wonk space. I selfishly wanted answers. It's my fault. It's my fault.
All right, I'm not going to make it any more awkward. But So, Angela, to answer your question real quick, and Trash, I just sent you this. How did this shooter get arrested for terrorism with a weapon of mass destruction, and he received probation?
Right.
Am I like understanding this correctly?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Right.
My head hurts really bad.
All
right.
You're understanding it correctly. Yeah.
I mean, how does that happen if you're not a CIA asset and you go in with immunity? I don't know.
No, I mean, like how are you not a CIA contractor, right? Like, of course.
I mean, just walking around with my weapon of mass destruction. It's not like I'm a migrant crossing with a weapon of mass destruction. Like,
but are you a person of color? Are you a person of color who's also gay? Like, what are you talking about? Like, check the box.
Yeah, and also speaking of DEI requirements, I hear that someone needs to ask Corinne Jean Van Claude goddamn LaPierre about her own voodoo ceremonies and which animals that she used in her sacrificial
Bro,
ceremonies.
she's so pissed off.
I heard that rumor, and I really feel like someone needs to ask her.
She's so pissed off that anybody's connecting anything with Haitians. Like, she's so pissed off. Like, she's so mad. She's so big mad. I don't know.
Big mad. All right.
all right.
JP hasn't spoken yet. So I'll just go to JP. Chief, I see you. I just want to let JP go real quick. All right, hold on. Chief, jump in here, then JP.
Oh, hold on. So I'll say this real quick because I was doing a little bit of snooping around with the Trump shooter. So the group I listed before as there's a pro-Taiwan group, anti-China group talking about mobilizing soldiers and people and personnel to defend Taiwan against China. It's called the Taiwan Foreign Legion. Now that group has the Trump shooter listed as the International Volunteer Center coordinator for that. And the group supporters, if you look at the supporter page, it lists AZOV Units as the supporter. It has contact numbers for Ukrainian people there as well. So I found this little nugget of information along with the AZOV propaganda video that he was in 2022. So this guy is not just a Ukrainian shill, but also in the Taiwan sphere and completely on board with the pro-Taiwan stuff, and actually lists AZOV Units in the supporter page for that too. I just want to make that point because it's not just the Ukrainian thing that he's been pushing or a part of, but he's also involved in Taiwan in some capacity. So I just want to make that point before I forgot.
No, and that exactly proves my point, right? Like, if you aren't some kind of asset, right, of the United States government and like working under their guise, how the hell are you going around and openly, like literally on your Facebook page to like, you know, the people you're targeting and the grandmas and aunts and uncles and all the other people you're targeting, you know, say like, oh, well, I'm recruiting soldiers out of Afghanistan to go fight in Ukraine. Like, and then you're also involved in the Taiwanese battle, and then you're also involved in shooting Trump. Like, this just has CIA written all over it. Like, it's disgusting. It really is. And Chief, thank you so much for digging up all those details. Really appreciate you. JP, jump in here.
Well, Trump is winning so bigly that he now has survived more assassination attempts than Kamala Harris has given one-on-one unscripted interviews. Let's think about that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm so bullish on Trump winning this election now, but the bottom line is that his life is going to be in perpetual danger for the rest of his life. It probably will be in the most danger when he wins this election. Once they realize that he will have power, that's when the real threat kicks in. I think that's when the professionals get activated, because it's that level of tyranny that we live under. I read the last sentence of the Declaration of Independence, where we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And you know, this is our generation. This is our 1776. And there is no other person, there is no other candidate in my lifetime that has lived up to that statement, to that conclusion of the Declaration of Independence. Donald Trump must know, he's an intelligent man now, he's survived 2 assassination attempts. He must know that he will likely sacrifice his life for the cause of liberty every time he steps out in public. That's an extreme likelihood. He's sacrificed his fortune. He's the first person to become less wealthy after being the president. In fact, he's getting multi-$100-million judgments against him for complete and utter bullshit. He's being dragged through the criminal courts on lawfare. So he has pledged his life, he has pledged his fortune, and he has pledged his sacred honor. And I am praying for Donald Trump every day. I have one of those, you know, those signs that go outside of stores where you can change the letters. I'm one of those nut jobs in town. I have one out on my property or out on the highway. And tonight, the message on that is just O and 2 with a middle finger emoji underneath it. Let's fucking go.
O2.
Okay. I just realized something. JP, I don't know what you did to just make this click in my head, but here we are. The other day, when they announced, right, Mershon announced that they were no longer going to be having Donald Trump have his judgment thing on the 18th. Do you remember how Mershon closed out the letter saying, well, and it'll be after the election if it's even necessary then? And I sat in that space and I said, that's really weird. There was an assassination attempt he was supposed to be, sentenced on the 11th. And there was the assassination attempt. And then I can't even speak right now. I'm so angry.
Well, it's 60 days. It was 60 days.
Well, hold on, please, Lindsay. So you have July 11th was the original sentencing, right? They canceled that, and then on the 13th we had the assassination attempt. Okay, they canceled the oh God, what is the word? They canceled the
sentencing.
Sentencing. Thank you. Just the other day, and now we have another assassination attempt with Mershon closing out his letter, if it's even necessary to prosecute Donald Trump at that point. This is, guys, like I said this in this space, and everyone was like, "Oh, Jen, what are you talking about? We're not going to go down that conspiracy road. Kiss my conspiracy ass." Okay, I guess I'm the host. I can't just have my mic closed. Josh, you're supposed to let me mic drop.
Well, yeah, no, like you mic drop, like kiss my fucking ass too. Like we can talk about this. I can't add speakers. Dustin's trying to come up. I can't add speakers. Apparently, we're glitching. It's all a thing. Like no, like go kiss. Yeah, kiss my fucking ass. Like we called this. All of us have been talking about this for like the last 3 years, the last 4 years, the last 7 years. We've been talking about this shit for so long. And now you guys are seeing it in real time. And my friend Alan up here down from Brazil, reporting on Brazil, has been saying the same things that is at the forefront of the attack on free speech. And this motherfucker.
Yeah, but oh, go ahead.
Ooh, I don't want to call him a motherfucker and like mic drop that. I'm saying that like he pointed it out. He's pointed it out. Like what's going on down here is a replica or a foreshadowing of what's going on in this country. Like 100%.
Okay, but can someone explain it? But it's deeper than that, right? But what I'm saying is there is a legitimate pattern here. Okay. On July 11th, Donald Trump was supposed to be sentenced. They canceled the sentencing and then they tried to assassinate him.
All right. So
2 days ago, Judge Mershon again canceled the sentencing. And 2 days later, 3 days later, we have another assassination attempt with Mershon closing out that letter saying if we'll even have to do it or if it's even necessary to sentence him at that point.
Okay. Now I got it. So when we saw the Supreme Court decision come down from the Supreme Court and Judge Juan Mershon and his illustrious daughter, who's been fundraising off of this, he said, even if we have a sentencing, I'm not convinced, based on the Supreme Court's language, that we even have a case moving forward, right? That was his first language. The second language was, I'm going to postpone this to like November 25th or whatever it was, 20 days after the election. Meaning, if Donald Trump is elected and we stop the steal, because we're bringing 5 to 10 people to the polls, and we stop the steal, that I'm not convinced that I can actually even sentence him accordingly. So I'm going to move the sentencing post election day because he wants to see how it plays out. And if it's close, Juan Mershon is definitely going to weaponize his ability to prosecute Donald Trump on bullshit to create another narrative. But if it's not close and we overwhelm the steal in early November of 2024, then he's going to vacate the case. So like he's set himself up politically where he's either going to go hard in the paint in late November against Trump if the election is not clear. If the election is clear, then he's going to vacate it. That's what he's doing.
What I'm saying is he knew this assassination attempt was going to happen.
I'm not convinced
that is
of that.
why he closed.
Nope.
I am.
I am not. And like this is the first time that you and I have publicly disagreed. I am not convinced that he sees that.
You listen to me. You do not close out that letter with the veiled threat of, oh, if there's even a reason to do it. right?
Sure.
There's one thing about playing political football, and he knew that letter was going to be read over and over and over again.
Sure.
And if I wasn't sitting here talking about another assassination attempt, I wouldn't be as convinced.
All right. So like, it's one thing to like signal, like virtue signal through like lettering and like language and like to like whip up the base. And like, he's basically saying that like, if you guys leave this to the electorate on November 5th or 6th or whatever it is, and they overwhelm the voting box and Donald Trump is obviously elected, then I have no power, I have no jurisdiction, I have no political power to pursue any kind of charges against the guy. So I'm going to move the sentencing to like the last third week of November, post the election, that I have no political power. Like, sure, you can make an argument. I don't think that's a wrong argument, but I don't think it's what he's doing. I think he's waiting to see if he has any political power post-election to actually pursue any kind of like trumped-up charges. I think that's what he's actually signaling.
I think both of you make plausible arguments. I think you both do. My question, though, is, and I feel like I should know this, is the issue of whether or not the charges that Trump is scheduled to be sentenced for still in litigation? Because I know the Supreme Court came down with a ruling, but are we still waiting for some kind of final word on an appeal or motion from the Trump team as to whether or not he can even be sentenced on these charges? I thought that was settled already. So it seems like it is a political decision, right? If Mershon is
but JP, it's a state case. It's not a federal case. So like, even if the Supreme Court ruled on the 1512 thing, it's still a state case, meaning that they can definitely sentence him, and then he goes into the Court of Appeals, and they go to the New York Supreme Court, which is the second level, and the third level is the New York State Court of Appeals, which is the third level, which is kind of backwards, but that's what they do. If they felt like they had political power to lock him up or issue a sentence, and that it would not survive the New York Court of Appeals or the New York Supreme Court, then maybe. But I think he's waiting on the sidelines to see if there's any political power behind Donald Trump. And Jen, I disagree. Like, I don't think this guy is good enough or smart enough or even powerful enough to lock up Donald Trump prior to an appeal. And I think he knows he loses an appeal, but I think he's looking for political wins. Wins. W-I-N-D-S.
I could even take it a step further. Look at the coordinated media attack on Laura Loomer over the past 2 days, who would have been the number one person looking into all of this.
Well, no,
and
100%.
Then they go and assassinate or try to assassinate President Trump once again.
Well, Jen,
you think that was by accident?
No, and Jen, I'm here to tell you, the New York Times is sniffing around the Trump campaign right now. They're sniffing around them. They've asked for comment. I know they're about to run a story. They're probably going to run a story in like the next 3 or 4 days to the New York Times against the Trump campaign. They're about to run it. I know that because I've been requested for comment. I know that many people inside Trump campaign have been requested for comment. They are coming after MAGA. They are coming after anybody that supports Trump, including Laura Loomer, which, by the way, to be clear, no one in the campaign is actually like reaching out to Laura Loomer for comment or any kind of support. Laura Loomer's doing her own thing for doing her own thing's sake. But New York Times is actually sniffing around this campaign. And they are going to probably expose Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles in a big fucking way in the next 3 to 4 days. I'm just here to tell you it's coming. I know it's coming. And so what is the messaging? Do I care about Chris LaCivita or Susie Wiles? No, I don't. So like, I hope you fucking fall. And I hope that all the people, all the neocons and all the rhinos inside that Trump campaign fall as well. I hope you all fucking fall, because you all have been fucking up this campaign from day one, and you're doing it intentionally because you want to actually make money as a consultant class faggot moving forward when you don't have any kind of influence or power. That's what's happening inside this. Oh my God.
Okay, so Trash, we are 60 days out from an election.
We're 50 days out.
Right?
Yeah.
50 days out,
Yeah.
right? Can we agree that both assassination attempts probably came from the same place?
Yeah.
Like, I think we can all agree on that fact, right? So if that's the fact, and you have the same person or group of people, right, who are obviously going to stop at nothing to take out Donald Trump, why are we allowing the media to spin this narrative of, oh, we don't really know what it is? Like, no, we know what it is. We know what it is. And the fact, see, we have to look, so many times we don't look at things on timelines, right? And because we live in this 24-hour news cycle where there is like literally earth-shattering stories every 12 hours, every 6 hours, every hour sometimes, right? Like, we are forgetting things that happen in a timeline that aren't by chance, that all of those things.
I think we're early. Like, if anybody listening to this space, I don't know how many people are here. 641 people listening to this space. Just know that, like, what we're talking about, you're fucking early, and you're gonna recognize exactly what happens over the next week. It's happening. It's coming. But like, Jen, like, I don't know what kind of influence we have. I don't know what kind of like impact we have on anybody. Well, I don't want to include you in that because I think you know.
But yeah, but it's not even impact, right, Trash? It's the fact that like people sit here in these spaces and it drives me fucking crazy, right?
No.
They sit here and they're like, oh, I'll never fall for a psyop. Oh, I'll never, like, I can sniff those people out. I'm a hound dog, right? And then shit happens and they're up in this face. Oh, fuck that bitch. I always knew she was a Russian accent. And it's like, are you fucking, that's the same, like.
Yes. So we're early. We are like the old man shouting at the cloud in the Simpsons episodes. Like, we are yelling at the clouds. You guys, if you guys are hearing this at all, you're very fucking early. Just to be clear, you're very early. And I guarantee you, anything that I've told you, whether New York Times come out with a hit piece, whether or not there's an attack on the Trump campaign, whether or not these specific individuals that we're naming will be outed in future endeavors, just know that you're fucking early. And Jen is also early. Jen and I have been very early on a lot of things. We've been very early on January 6th. We were very early on Color Revolutionaries. We were very early on Norm Eisen. Actually, that's Jen. Jen was earlier than I was on Norm Eisen. You deserve that credit.
He follows me now.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Norm.
Yeah, but I know, but like all the things that we're talking about, you guys are very fucking early because we are operating in the shadows, in the background, and we're dealing with these people and we know what's coming. I'm just telling you, everything that we talked about, you guys are very early on. I'm telling you, not to garner some kind of like following or favoritism or whatever. I'm just here to tell you you're fucking early. You're early.
It just means pay attention.
Pay attention.
That's literally what he's saying.
Wake up. Wake up.
For sure. All right, Trash,
All
I
right.
need to get this thing shut
All right,
down. We
shut
gotta get
down.
through these things. JP, finish up.
I'll open up space.
Okay. I'll jump in. JP, do you want to finish up and then we'll go to Lindsay?
Sure. Just a quick comment. I just wanted to highlight the just Olympic level of gaslighting on the left. It's honestly impressive how people who have mastered, an entire like PhD thesis level university classes on microaggressions are able to say that Donald Trump is the reason why people are trying to kill him. The level of insanity and inconsistency in their victimhood and it blows my mind that it's his fault that people are trying to kill him. And these are the same people that say I'm guilty of microaggressions because I wore, a shirt with an American flag on it. So I can't believe what I'm seeing with the gaslighting. It's truly epic.
No, it's absolutely epic. And the fact that I just want everybody to remember when Diligent originally opened up that space today, remember the narrative was that there was a gunfight between like two ghetto gangbangers outside of Mar-a-Lago, and it had nothing to do with Trump. And it went from two ghetto gangbangers to an assassin tied to Ukraine real quick. I just want to point that out. And credit to Potato over at CNN, who did break from the mainstream media narrative and told everyone to go fuck themselves, that it actually was an assassination attempt and not two ghetto gangbangers. So here we are, people. This is the world we live in. All right, Lindsay, jump in here, and then I'm closing it down. Trash is gonna open his space. I love you all, but I'm exhausted.
You've been on here for a long time, Jen. You're a
Have a good
trooper.
rest, Jen. Thanks for always leading the charge.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just something quick, but it was like, you know, you were talking about the Secret Service, somebody was talking about like the security, and I mean, to me, like, I just feel like that side of everything has such a bad branding problem. Like, I mean, when you saw like the shooter, for example, and the one Secret Service guy that came, I mean, like his suit is like too big for him. His glasses are from like 1982. Like, if I was in office, I would immediately like upscale these guys, you know, make sure that I had, you know, as many as necessary. I mean, like, nobody's like looking at them as being like powerful or trying to look at them as being like strong. And again, I know this has been an obvious conversation, but I'm just saying from like an American branding perspective in the world, like our Secret Service looks like they shop at Goodwill. And I don't like that. I think that it needs to be branded. They need to look militant. There needs to be like way more, you know, put into how that is perceived, because I think that's one of the biggest issues is we look weak. And that goes into the whole other aspect of like how America is making money right now. Like, we don't seem like this awesome, amazing superpower anymore because we're literally like making money on, you know, trash situations like, you know, defense spending and immigration. Like, those are the ways that we're making money. It's almost like just these really bad business decisions that cost way too much money. And again, like, the American brand is very powerful in the world if it's run and managed properly, and it's just not. So that was one thing I wanted to say. And then there was just one other thing, which was about, I just think that everybody, no matter what, needs to demand, you know, from their congressmen, from their senators, call their office on Monday and tell them, you know, that this needs to be looked into heavily. Like, it needs to be looked into because we're not safe. We're not safe. Public officials are not safe. Trump is not safe. And that's because there is absolutely 100% some kind of domestic terrorism. If it is international terrorism, that's even scarier, whatever country it's coming from. The point is like, it needs to be looked into, and it needs to be a bipartisan thing that's looked into, and we need answers. And I think Americans need to demand that at a level that it's never been demanded. Like, we've just been sitting here on our hands for the last, you know, 60 days. And I'm saying this again as a Democrat. I don't agree with what happened. Again, I still, you know, I'm voting for Trump this year. I'm very, you know, conflicted on many things right this second, but this is absolutely, you know, this is, like I said, it's an attack on us from a terrorist perspective. It makes people not want to go outside. It makes people afraid. You know, like I said, the biggest threat to democracy, in my opinion, is making people scared and frightened and feel threatened and feel intimidated. And that's what it's doing to the average American and to 70% of this country right now. That's what it's doing. And that's why it's sinister. And if, in fact, it is coming from the Democrats, our side here, that is even worse. And that needs to be, like, stated. It needs to be stated clearly, not like cloak and dagger. It needs to be stated, look, if we find out once we're in office that you guys did this, and if senators and congressmen can say that now, like, look, if we find out that there's like text messages and emails and all this stuff right now, you guys are done. Like, your ass is grass. Like, this needs to be like stated clearly that, like, I mean, it's not like there isn't a paper trail somewhere.
So, Lindsay, I know you're new to our side, and I can't remember how long you've been listening. I'm losing my voice, guys. Sorry. But Lindsay,
go to bed.
If you look at Trash's highlights tab, right? Him and I and Dustin and Millie, right, over the past like 3 years have gone and literally have all of the receipts for everything. Like, what you're talking about is like what we have from 2020 right now, that we have been begging and screaming for someone to do something. Like, we have more than enough evidence to put these people in jail immediately. And yet we are stopped and not listened to and silenced at every aspect. And it's so frustrating, because like, if they would have done something about what we had exposed, right, these people wouldn't be in the positions they are today to be carrying out like everything they're doing. And that's like the most frustrating part of all of this.
I'm really sorry that happened to you, Jen, and I'm really sorry about what happened with Dustin, all the things that you guys have talked about, and Trash, and he's had people after him and stuff. And I think that that's not the America we live in. It shouldn't be the America we live in. It is, unfortunately. But like I said, the biggest thing is if you're silencing voices, you have to ask yourself why. Like, what is so bad about what someone has to say? If you're afraid of the reality, then like that tells me more about you than the person you're talking about, because obviously it exposes you. And I think that will come to pass. It will be found out. You don't need to worry. I think it will be found out. And you're doing everything you know to do, and you're doing great spaces. Trash does great work. So many people on this app like try so hard to to, I think, find out all this stuff. And I feel like the federal government has like no idea, honestly, like what's going on. Half the people. There's probably 4 or 5 that really do know, and they are the ones that are doing these horrible, sinister things. I'm just guessing, like, as a person that doesn't really, know
No, that's a
everything.
good math. That's a good ratio. Yeah.
Well,
Like, I
put
think a
it
lot of
this
people are
way,
just stupid
Lindsay.
and they just turn a blind eye.
I got a phone call from my friend. I'm not going to say the country he was in. Okay, it's to our south, like maybe not direct south, right, but to the south. And he was like, Jen, do you know about the program they have going on at the embassies? And I was like, no, please tell me about said program. And he's like, well, I was with a friend and he was telling me how the embassy staff, right, which are technically government workers, are reaching out to people who may have been born in America, lived elsewhere, maybe came back for university, but then left again, have absolutely no connection to America. And they are reaching out to people like that to help them get registered to vote and request their early ballots in all of these countries in order to them to vote in the 2024 election. And they are actually concentrating on people from states like Arizona. I think it was Arizona, Wisconsin, and some Pennsylvania. And there is just whole voter, get out the vote, really corrupt shit where even if the person's not requesting a ballot, they're requesting a ballot for that person. So they even have empty ballots apparently coming to embassies that we all need to start yelling about, but I don't know what to do about it.
I mean, that's really terrible. I didn't know about that. How is that even not being said in a bigger way?
Exactly. I hadn't heard about it until my friend called me the other night, right? But I'm not
you need to make a
I'm
TikTok
not in
video
country.
to blow it up.
I'm not in country, right? He's going to do some investigating for me, right? But I'm not there. I can't go investigate, right? I can't go to another reporter and be like, yo, I have this hearsay, right? They're gonna ask me for evidence, and that's evidence I can show you the programs. I guess somebody could look into who's running the programs, but then here we are standing with all this information, all of this evidence, and we're begging people to look at it. And we have the mainstream media and Jared and people like that calling us MAGA cultists and that we should be eradicated from the earth, right? So I don't really know what to do with this situation.
Not right. That's the thing. When you said that earlier too in that other space, I'm so glad you said that, because I think that there are a lot of Democrats that do think that way. I am a Democrat that does not think that way, but I do think that there are, and I hate when he does that because I just think it undermines the whole amazing communication that I have had with people that are different than me on X. I don't see it that way. I think that is such a bad. It just opens up all these bad doors that don't need to be opened up in politics. This is literally
not only opening up those doors, but shutting down the bridges when we're trying to make them with people that may disagree with us politically. And we're like, hey, by the way, also you should probably be paying attention to this too. This goes against your values, and it gets shut down. Yeah. It gets shut down.
Well, it's a way to discredit someone in a way that's really unfair, because it basically is oh, look at that person over there, they're a cult. It discredits everything that they do know and that they do believe. And again, you look at Donald Trump for 8 years, look, I didn't like him in the beginning. I wore my pink pussy hat and was against him, I mean, but I think the guy's changed personally. And I do think that he's got the right track for this. I do wish he was acting a little stronger right now, but I think he's also worried for his life and probably worried for his family's life. And I think that's terrible. That's not the America we live in.
It's actually a problem. It's actually a problem.
It's a huge problem because he can't run America. He can't even run his campaign 100%. If you probably asked him privately, hey, are you saying the things you want to say? Fuck no, he's not.
He's no, never been able to do it. That's the problem, right? Is from the time before he even got into office in 2016, they were already launching things in Congress, impeachment. I can't even think right now. I'm shutting the space down. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but I can't even think or talk anymore. So
I'll fire up.
I gotta go.
We love you.
All right. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.
I'll fire up. I'll fire up. I got it.
Bye, guys. Follow Trash. Love y'all. Thank you, Alan. Bye, guys.